Hear that loud notification.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome everybody to Sports Goofs number 85. I'm Francisco, always joined by my good buddies Andrew and Charles. How are you guys
Howdy.
doing?
Doing good?
Mm-hmm. So
I'm existing.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's the week of Thanksgiving, so we'll have our thanks. What are we thankful for this year thing later on in the show, maybe towards the end to sign off on. We got a lot of stuff planned for this week's episode. Stuff happened in baseball, I guess, some signings and stuff, but some minor stuff. We might touch on it, we might not. NBA has some news. We'll touch on that. NFL and college football continue on and move forward, and so we'll touch on that. What the NHL might do with regards to their play to in 2021. Then our weekly segments. We all know that. We all know that those are going to come, and I have some saved up from last week. And the cage with Charles, but we're gonna flip it around today. Instead of ending the show on it, instead of the showstopper, we're gonna start with the cage. So
We're flipping things on our head. We're doing a tombstone to the show tonight.
Oh, oh, here we go. Let's go. Let's just start.
Well, everybody, welcome to your weekly Truplex. So now the new opener of the show for at least this episode's purposes. Want to know why? Because instead of being show stoppers, we want to be the prime time. We want to be the thing that you desire to see every Tuesday at 7 p.m., 7:04, right? That's where we're at. And you know where you are? You're listening to our show. Why? Because you guys are masochists, and we appreciate you all the same. Now, remember, folks, wrestling is scripted. It is not fake. It is a dance. It is a ballet. It's a staged fight between men and women being the holy hell of each other, looking for championships, for respect, or sometimes it's just bad hombres. And boys, fellas, people around the world, all nations, a lot of stuff happened this weekend, wrestling-wise. WWE-wise, legacy-wise, your existence for 30 years as a fan-wise, an impact. It's a climax. You guys ever wonder how Game of Thrones was going to end finale-wise? That's kind of what the mega source was. You guys want to know how Harry Potter was going to end? That's how it kind of felt like it was. You know, for my old people out there, you want to know what happened when Who Shot JR and you finally got the result? This is how it kind of felt. Forget AEW, forget Ring of Honor, forget New Japan. I never thought I'd say that, even though New Japan's not my favorite promotion. Right now, they just have anything Wrestle Kingdom. We're going all WWE in this episode, folks, because, guys, I'm going to start with it. Survivor Series, one of the big four pay-per-views, right? The big four is Royal Rumble in January, WrestleMania in April, SummerSlam in August, and then Survivor Series in November. What's the purpose of Survivor Series? For the most part, brand promotions going against each other. Made no sense to me half the time because since the CV era started, because I know we're back on YouTube, so I can't say the fancy word, but since CV started, you know, everybody's been kind of just showing up on the shows, but prior to that, it was Raw versus SmackDown. Last year, it was Raw, SmackDown versus NXT, which I kind of miss, I gotta tell you. But normally, there's your typical Survivor Series matchup, 5-on-5, baby, you know, to see who's the supremacy. This year, they also did championships going against each other, so you would have the Universal Championship going against the WWE Champion, no titles on the line, same thing with the mid-card titles, the women's titles, the tag team titles. Survivor Series is also very special though this year because it's not best of the best. They told you it was best of the best. There was not really a best of anything matches-wise. I watched it, but it was The Undertaker's final farewell. Now, I really don't think I have to do an equivalent of a Let's Haul Y'all for The Undertaker. I think that's disrespectful to the legacy in and of itself. Plus, I can't even say Let's Haul Y'all because he ain't in the Hall of Fame yet. So that's just me taking cheap shots. What am I going to go do? Go to courts and say, hey, Taker's in the Hall of Fame. You have to wait till it's inducted, baby. Sorry, you got to wait it out. But I will tell you what The Undertaker is. He is essentially WWE for the last 30 years. 30 years ago, a man named Mark Calloway in his NWA, AWA days, Big Red, showed up by Ted DiBiase's Survivor Series team. And 30 years later after that, I don't want to say the rest is history because there's a lot of history that had to be written. I hate that phrase, folks. But this was the final farewell, the goodbye. I feel like Frank Sinatra singing in the background. Now, The end is near. I'm not going to serenade you guys because that's for the OnlyFans. Follow us on our OnlyFans if we ever create one day. Follow us on Twitter, Charles the True, FJOJR, Dan Frijoles, and of course Sports Goofs. And a shout out to Brendan's Twitter account, who is honorary member, is going to be future member of the Goof World Order, and of course BU and Freddie and their stuff. I always give them love. They're part of the Goof World Order as well. But it's the Taker's final farewell. I'm sitting there. I'll give you a little suspense. I'm like, all right, is this going to be the cheap shot? Is Vince going to build a storyline out of this? Is this going to be one more match? Because Taker hasn't wrestled, and you can't see me, but finger quotes, since Mania in that excellent Boneyard match against AJ Styles, which wasn't even a match. It was a cinematic match. His last actual event was against also AJ Styles in one of the Saudi Arabia pay-per-views. But it was the final farewell. And me and my buddy Tony's like, I'll see it when he's dead, because wrestling, you never retire because you kind of broke. But this was Taker's final farewell. This guy is known as being Mr. WrestleMania. He had the streak, 22-2, or 23-2, or 21-2. Don't make me do math today, guys. It's been a very long day. But it said it was his final farewell. So it was really kind of like a show dedication for him. They were building it up. He's been doing interviews. He was on Hot Ones. I watched Undertaker on Hot Ones. I'm not used to that. Yeah. It's very weird and rare because this guy is as old school can be, where he doesn't break kayfabe being the act. He doesn't do certain things. He didn't do interviews. He wasn't off making movies. He didn't make a reality TV show. Guy didn't make a sex tape.
Didn't make a sitcom comedy on Netflix.
Yeah, well, ambassador. This guy's as old school. So he didn't know Twitter. He didn't know social media. My God, this man is basically a saint client for all people who are lawyers, right? Because what do we tell our lawyers? Don't do anything, social media. So it was his final farewell. We'll talk about the Survivor Series matches, and then we'll talk about Taker because I think that holds a little bit of precedent. The Survivor Series match was just like a C pay-per-view. Highlight matches of the night, New Day versus Street Profits. I thought it was very good, if not great. I think it's how you tell the story of two babyface teams going against one another. Remember, babyface, good guys. New Day, very profitable. Love them. Love me that entire construct of the team. Don't like the fact that they're Raw Tag Team Champions right now because sometimes you have to create parity. And the Street Profits, I'm a little partial to them. They're the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I remember them where they're on NXT, on the house shows when it was Montez and Dawkins. And there was nothing else that kind of came into it. And then it's like seeing your children grow up, seeing your children take their first steps, and now they're on a big pay-per-view. And boys, they put on a very good match. It was good storytelling because the New Day kind of came out as aggressive. They were kind of like, you think you're us? You ain't us. We are us. And it was a good back-and-forth match. I think Woods and Kofi did what they had to do, but Montez and Dawkins, especially Dawkins, because I think people kind of forget his role as he's supposed to be the heavy. I think he should be the hot tag, not Montez, even though Montez oozes charisma. Dawkins has to be there, because that's the thing about tag teams. Sometimes you're not good separate, but you're better together. And I'm going to give a shout out to Dawkins. If you do listen, please follow us on Twitter. Come showing the show. We'll love you. I used to see you in Fort Pierce. Come on, man. This guy, he used to be on NXT years and years ago, just house shows, and he had difficulty getting there. He was never fired, but he had to figure out his own niche, and then they paired him with Montez Ford, and that's how they created the Street Profits. And it goes to show that you don't get lightning in a bottle immediately. You don't have the great idea. Wrestling is not creating a character, it's creating a screenplay. It's creating a play itself. And you have to define the characters, the conflicts, and when that's all said and done, you have to work with the actors, the producers, and the directors. Anybody who's done any writing, I actually have. And I know Andrew and Francisco like their sports writing, and you guys can understand the same too. There's an editor. There's a publisher. There's somebody always kind of dictating you, and somehow you don't get the act. So Dawkins, good on you, man, because I thought you showed up in a great way. I thought they kept us entertained. Charles rating, because we're going to do this stuff now on pay-per-view matches. True rating, 4 or 2.5. I liked it. Asuka and Sasha, another good match. They have great chemistry. They've wrestled a lot during the summer. Sasha wins clean. Oh, Street Profits won. That's how I leave it as. Sasha wins clean. It's good. I don't know what we're doing with Asuka, whatever, but Vince hates her. I get it. Asuka, we love you. Join us on the show sometime. It was a very good match, good back and forth. Ends up with a surprise pin. Nobody taps out. That's the thing I hate about kind of American wrestling, that Vince McMahon thinks that it's weak for anybody to kind of tap out. But in UFC, people tap out all the time. No one says, yes, clog my breathing airwaves, so I have brain damage. Please dislocate my joints fully. It doesn't click. Marty Scurll who is a wrestler, Ring of Honor, said it never makes sense in the American wrestling that they think submitting is weak. If anything, I think if you can't take a super kick to the face that knocks you out for 3 seconds, you can't kick out. That might show a sign of weakness more. But whatever, American wrestling has its own critiques. That was a good match. Roman versus Drew. Universal Champion versus Heavyweight Champion. They have history. They fought at not this year's WrestleMania, but the year prior, to which Roman won. It was his WrestleMania after he beat, basically came back from cancer, from leukemia. Roman was eliminated by Drew at at Royal Rumble to get his title shot. They were both good, respected brands. Remember, Drew just won back his title. Everybody was riding the love train of that match. I thought the match was just fine, boys. It was good. It's like a 3-7-5 or 3-5, and of course it ended schmoozy because Drew was looking like a straight up rabid dog, and Roman was trying to go from there. But it ends with the ref kind of getting knocked down. It's the old stick. Ref gets knocked down, distracted. Roman low blows him, and then in comes Jey Uso, his cousin that Roman has said fall in line, not that you lost, because that storyline I don't think is done. I think it's incredible. I love it. Comes in, interferes, and helps Roman just like choke out Drew. That stuff was good storytelling. The Survivor Series matches were not good. And remember, Survivor Series is 5-on-5 elimination. The men's Raw sweeps the men's SmackDown. Jey Uso was the last guy there, and it was like 1-on-5. I don't get it. I know for storyline purposes, they're all going to be like, now we get a title shot against Drew McIntyre. Maybe that's your propulsion. It might be Braun Strowman. It might be AJ Styles. On Raw, they kind of laid out the foundation doing an elimination match. But I don't think anybody looked good in SmackDown. SmackDown kind of needed that more to at least have some guy who stood out to look like the main eventer. But I will say Otis did look good. And then the women's, it was no bueno. It ended with Lana winning on a double count out when both Bianca Belair, who looked fantastic, wife of Montez Ford, and Nia Jax got counted out. But the running story, they're going to continue Lana and Nia. Nia is the tag team champion with Shayna Baszler, what have you. It's whatever. So that was that. And then we get to Taker. And boys, I got to tell you, my first 2 wrestling figures, because I was that kid with a grand imagination, and I live in Polk County, Florida. Not a lot of people have, they like that's how I got into wrestling, but they were like, oh, use your imagination. I don't hang out with people that like to chew chaw at 10 years old. So one of my 2 first toys, because if you're getting wrestling, you just can't get one guy, you have to have an opponent. Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Undertaker. So this was the final farewell, and they started bringing up everybody there. You had Jeff Hardy, you had Rikishi, you had Savio Vega, dudes that Taker was like besties with. The Godfather, the Bone Street Crew kind of thing, right? Jeff Hardy's not his boy, but Jeff Hardy got made because of The Undertaker. Triple H comes out, Shawn Michaels comes out, that's great. They had historic matches. Kevin Nash comes out, I'm like, why are you here? Like, you had a WrestleMania match with him as Diesel, but you never crossed paths again. It's just because H is just getting you a paycheck. Miss me with this nonsense. Kevin Nash, we love you. Not just for your wrestling as Big Daddy Cool as Diesel or Big Sexy Kevin Nash. You're also Super Shredder in TMNT Secret of the Ooze. Great movie. I don't know what anybody hates on that. Love it. Go watch it. But then, and they brought back Kane, and Kane's like the only one in wrestling gear.
For a movie.
Right? So
when
Kane's
they come down the stairs or whatever, that's it.
So it's great. And so Kane's the only one with wrestling gear, which I thought was like hysterical. And some people were like, why is he out of wrestling gear? Because you guys wouldn't like Mayor Kane or Corporate Kane. Let him come out as Kane. Jesus Christ. But then Vince is there, and then it's real. There's no storyline, because the only suspicion I had was like the Fiend would come out of nowhere and just like Sister Abigail take her, and then maybe we get that final match. But Vince is out there. First off, Vince, whoever does your eyebrows, you got arched up like a girl in Miami. You need to clear that stuff out. Bring it up and tell me. Take it to the polls. Tell me it's not true. Because Vince is like 75, and I don't know if it's plastic surgery or if he's literally withering away looking like a mannequin. And you guys know I have a love-hate relationship with Vince McMahon. He's basically the half-brother. He's a stepdad, essentially. But so Vince is there, and his voice is cracking. I'm like, it's for real. His meal ticket is gone. Because what's the biggest complaint about Vince McMahon? He cannot make new stars. Everybody wants to leave, or he can't push the right people. But damn it, that Saudi Arabia money, baby. It's coming in because of people like Taker and HBK and all this other stuff. But Taker, when I think he says he's good, he's good. He's got nothing else to gain out of it, right? Because he doesn't want to tarnish the legacy. He fixed his legacy. For the last couple of WrestleManias, he couldn't go, and then he had that beautiful cinematic Boneyard match, which was basically the wrestling equivalent of Logan. So Vince is going on there with his very much, Hialeah eyebrows, talking and stuff. He's about to cry, and he goes, "One more time, The Undertaker!" That's literally how he sounded. And I'm like, boy, you got to get some veneers, man, because it's going. Taker comes out with his 20, and boys, I knew, and I was a little bit delayed, too, because I don't like to watch the pay-per-views immediately. I like to wait an hour so I can just kind of, like, skip through the commercials or the matches I don't want to watch, but I watched everything. I watched all that 10, 15-minute entrance, knowing that it's really, like, logistically the last time, aside from some weird-ass cameo that would come in. And I felt it a little bit in my soul. But 31, I can hold it out. He comes in, you get the music, he's looking at everybody. There's no crowd there. And I think the fact that they simulated a crowd going, "Thank you, Taker," or whatever, was kind of trash because you could just have the wrestlers there. Because what better way to get the second thing, even though there's not the fans, to like revere you and leaving than your colleagues who you wrestle throughout the years, or even get the people who are on stage, the pay-per-view, all those 20-plus people to be there and just do the thank yous kind of thing. We did it with Ric Flair, right? Granted, there was a live crowd, but I won't mince words. Taker gets his own thing. He comes out, he gives his speech. You know, he has that gruff voice. He gives his own little thing, and he just goes, "For 30 years, I've been walking down that aisle a long time." And then he basically just said, "And now it's time for the Undertaker to rest in peace." I was like, I felt it. And then he does his little pose, and then they did a hologram of Paul Bearer. So I felt like Tupac. So Paul Bearer was his manager for so long and had so many transitional stories that came into it. And they even had Paul's little audio code go, "Yeah!" Like literally that's how he would do it. He was like Dale Dotrieve. Dale Dotrieve, if anybody who's watched King of the Hill, that's what he sounds like to me. Went to the dark side. I'm going to tell you right now, I thought the hologram was cheesy. My friend's like, "No, man, I'm feeling it." I'm like, "No, it's kind of stupid." But apparently I was the only one. That was just me. But, like, I can get the sentimental touch to it because it was nicely done. I think it just would have been better if they had the urn already there and then you hear Paul's voice, because holograms are so weird, because just how weird it was when Tupac was hologrammed out. And, you know, even Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, CGI'd completely in Rogue One. We just know it's not possible because Paul died like 8 years ago. But then he basically says thank yous, and he's left, and that was it. There was no big, long speech. It was the final farewell. It could have been done better. It could have been done worse, but does it really matter? I don't think you can grade it. It's just the sentimentality that he had his chance to go there, because I felt like with the cinematic match, if they wanted to expand that more, he could have been back. However, I would venture that there's an idea or a presumption that in the state of Florida, we don't care about crowd attendance. I'm not getting political here. I'm just being honest, by a certain governor. So Vince is going to take that opportunity to bring whatever crowds he can get. So if you're not going to get cinematic experience, if it's not going to be a crowd at all, Vince would do more cinematics. But it seems like he's going to get that money from people attending pay-per-views at least. So there's no point to it. So he goes, he leaves, he raises his fist, and it's out, and it's done. And I look at it reflectively speaking. And I know this is a long cage, but it's a special cage, right? It's our primetime cage. You know, Monday Night Football, when the season starts, you watch the 8 o'clock game because you're dead tired at the 11 o'clock game, right? Chargers, why are you on the West Coast? Go move. Get the hell out of here. Go to Connecticut. You ask yourself, is it 25-2 at Mania? Okay, I can't do math. But you ask yourself, what does that person have as importance? And the thing about wrestlers is that some wrestlers you like and they're gone. Some wrestlers just get too injured. Some wrestlers get released. Sometimes they go to the indies and they just do terrible. I'm 31 years old. I started watching wrestling right when I turned 8. So you have this consistency. And what does Taker mean to me? He took basically a necromancer gimmick and made it work for 20-plus years. Mind you, the last great match I think he had was with Triple H in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. God, I can't think of it, but I think it's 28. Don't quote me on that. But that was 4 like back-to-back amazing matches. Shawn and him retiring match, streak versus retirement, then H and him, and then H and him in the Hell in a Cell. That was really it. And then I love the cinematic match because it speaks to me. But the guy came in looking like a necromancer with a bad tie, evolved to become the Undertaker that I knew at like 1998, which he looks more, gothic. Then he became like the Ministry of Darkness Taker when he was really just a full heel. Then he came back to the American Badass, which some people love, some people hate. I was amused by it. Changed his everything, because his theme song, Rodeo for Motorcycle, no more tombstones. He did the last ride. Why? Concussions. That was scary. Came back after he was murdered by Vince McMahon, basically, as Old School Taker, which was kind of like maybe the best Taker, because that's where Taker got more titles. He didn't need a championship to define him. People like John Cena. John Cena, I think, wouldn't mean much if he didn't have 16 world championships to his name. And I think that says something, right? Because Cena was never the most, best technical wrestler. He was a power buff. He's in Hollywood now doing stuff. And John Cena, this is no offense to you, man. I like you later in life than I like you in the beginning of the career. You and Taker also had a WrestleMania match, but it just kind of says something that strip away all those Cena titles that he tied with Ric Flair for most recognized. You gave him like 3 title runs. They might be like, who? Right? This man didn't need a title. He didn't mistake. He would put guys over. He put over Edge. He put over Batista, and he still won. The WrestleMania streak was foundational. He won the Royal Rumble. He's main evented Mania numerous times. Some matches were good, some matches were bad. Not even Roman Reigns, because everybody's like, that was a terrible match. Go watch him and Giant Gonzalez. When I was ironing my shirts on Sunday in preparation for Survivor Series, I was watching the Best of Taker matches. I remember the Boiler Room match versus him and Mankind. He made Mankind famous. He threw him off the damn Hell in a Cell at the King of the Ring, and you remember JR said, my God, Mrs. Foley, baby's boy has been broken in half. I'm like, okay, calm down there, but guy. Kind of scared me. He was in the first Hell in the Cell match with Shawn Michaels, which was fantastic. I was watching that too. About 10 minutes too long for my taste, but he was a lot of first, and he kept that evolution, and he kept invested. And then he came back, and of course, AJ Styles, who you guys know I love, was able to give me one more proper send-off. And his whole basis of doing it is saying, my body can't do this. If we had regenerative surgery, if I was literally Wolverine and my body could heal to 100%, I think he's the guy who would do it for 30 more years, right? And I just want to say, whatever it's worth, and it means nothing. But, as somebody who has started that journey going to the end, I'm glad you know when to walk away. I think you did it right. But and everybody's saying, thank you, Taker, but I would just say you're appreciated. Because now you could just go be you, and I don't ever want to see you on the WWE screen again because I want you to put in that mysticism because I thought you were done with Roman. But, thank you for that enjoyment, for that fun, that times. And I remember just being that kid saying, because, of course, you get all those new faces of The Undertaker. You got to get all the new toys. Will I buy a pop because you saw them? Of course not. Will I buy a Taker shirt? They don't have any good Taker shirts of you, man. But you know what, man? I will always go back to remember being 10 years old with my boys and doing the little eye rolls that he does, sticking out the tongue, doing the cutthroat thing that he does. Not the Chris Benoit one. I don't work for WWE, so I can say that name. Ha 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 ha. But when he's saying you're about to get tombstoned, everybody has to try to choke slam their buddies. You indentured certain things that I brought to a persona as a child. Now I wouldn't do it here at 31, working where I work. I would be like, he's gonna rest in peace. But it's a weird how you remember those things, and that was the most excitement. When you got into wrestling and you stole a taunt to do something, especially when you're playing with your friends on the basketball court, at PE, everybody loved wrestling at that time because I either did that or I did the suck it sign from DX, baby. Like, you're like, there you go. So, it's much appreciated, man. Of course, he's also in Suburban Commando. If you guys want to watch a very bad movie, I believe it has Hulk Hogan in there.
Boy.
That's what I got for you, man. It's a final farewell, and yeah.
That's my applause for a great career. I say no more. And this officially means the end of the tombstone, isn't that right?
Probably. Because remember, they have a lot of CTE issues, so they're trying to protect anything that has a neck. The only person, or that could be affected with the brain and the neck, the only person I think that may be able to do it is Kane, but Kane's more known for the choke slam than anything. So I think it fully puts it to rest. So rest in peace, Tombstone Pile Driver, in the WWE. Anywhere else, program-wise, it's on Kazuka Okada. Does it as a spinning tombstone. It's really cool. I think that should be his finisher instead of Rainmaker, but whatever. But yeah, so the WWE purposes, and that's the thing too, guys, to retire a move, not because it's just a highly lethal, because it is. If you miss it wrong, imagine that impact. But that's what you're synonymous with, right? And I'm so glad that he got that cinematic match because, think about it, folks. If it wasn't that match that he got, his last few matches was him and Goldberg in the Saudi show, where Goldberg had a concussion and basically dropped Taker on his neck. Damn it, Goldberg. And then also that bad tag team match between him and Kane, the Bros of Destruction, versus the old school DX of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So it all works in well. I applaud you two. I don't think there's anything else he ever needed. Rumble winner, Mania, main eventer, Mania numerous times with title, without title. Definitely did not need King of the Ring. Did many first matches. Was known for the casket matches, Inferno matches. I mean, it's just been a fun ride.
Okay. Is that all for the cage?
Yeah. I don't want to sour anything with trash talking other programs or even trash talking Hialeah Vince McMahon, but you got to bring that up. You have to just like type in Vince McMahon because I want your opinions on it. We all lived in Miami. Girls, boys, when you get your eyebrows done in Hialeah, there's just an extra arch. You know, let's end it with humor instead of sadness because that's what I'm all about. Scathing, witty humor is my cup of tea.
You type it in Vince McMahon eyebrows and it pops up. I'm going to have nightmares about Vince McMahon's eyebrows and makeup. Drop the eyebrow routine. Okay, hold on. Let me see if there's photos that are, let's see. Rocking the people's eyebrow on Camp WWE. No, that's something else. I can't. Unless he's trying to wash it away from Twitter and just.
I mean, all I'll say is this.
What the hell was that?
Oh, there you go. You see it. Yeah. If you spray him, if you put holy water on his face, I bet his skin stays, but the eyebrows fall off. I gotta tell you though, Vince McMahon though, excellent tie game. As the most proper full Windsor I've ever seen. He's always colorful. So Vince, I'll give you that. But them eyebrows, Joker does look. I mean, he's basically the Joker, you know, in that sense. Vince, just retire, dude. Just retire, please, for the sake of the children.
All right, boys. Oh, good job, Charles. Nice.
Andrew, your thought on those eyebrows? This is what matters more to me.
Hold on.
Let's zoom it in here so we can give everyone nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Dear Lord.
Oh God. he looks like a Vulcan. Like seriously, pull up a picture of a Vulcan. They have the same
I know.
Same eyebrows. They don't curve. They go straight.
Oh yes.
Oh boy.
My God. I need to give him like a Vulcan neck pinch to make him go to sleep.
All
right. Lord.
He agrees. He understands.
Okay. Let's go to another one of our segments here. I got to get these out of the way now because I think for most of our show we're going to talk about football, I believe. So I want to get these smaller stuff out of the way. I had them saved up last week. I had a whole thing because Brendan was on the show, and you know, it was going to be a whole thematic thing, but I had to throw that out. I'll do the theme later on. You'll see what I mean. But I'm going to do Uncultured Swine right now.
Oh, always a good choice.
Okay, Uncultured Swine, where we learn about different international teams outside of the USA, and we try to become cultured and learn about different teams and different sports and whatnot. And so today I'm gonna keep it to the CFL, so we're not gonna go too far away. But next week I have something pretty cool in mind because they just came out with a badass thing for their league. I'm saving it for now, okay? I wasn't prepared for it because it's just something that happened, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to put this on the show next time. All right, so especially because a announcement, next week is our season finale. We're going to take a break. We're going to take our usual month-long break. We'll let the holidays play out. Maybe me and Andrew might do a college football bowl extravaganza like we did last year before that starts in between, but then we'll be coming back starting the first week of next year when we'll have our retrospective of the year and NFL playoffs and all that jazz. So Uncultured Swine, today it is the Toronto Argonauts, or the Argos as they are also called. So the Toronto...
I'm glad you picked them because they just unveiled a new logo.
Well, it's not a new logo.
Well, it's a new old logo.
Exactly, and that's the reason I chose them. They went back to this beloved boat logo, and I'm like, yeah, why did they ever switch from that? It is the perfect encompassing of what the team is about. The Argonauts. Oh, it's a Canadian football team about boats and stuff, and it looks like a boat. It just looks great. I don't understand why they changed from that to whatever. They went back to it, so they made up for their mistakes. I'm sure a ton of people have been calling for it in Toronto, and so now it is finally there. And so yeah, Destiny 2 and Sniper Elite 4 are sponsoring us again today. So that's happening as well.
It
Anyways,
goes up as Black Friday games, Sniper Elite 4 and Destiny 2.
Yeah.
They're probably like $10.
why did you tell me about the Switch sale, man? That's
Oh my
that was
god!
horrible.
Like, dude.
If you are a gamer on a budget right now,
bruh,
you are in heaven because there are so many deals, no matter what platform that you're looking for. Say for the Xbox Series X and PS5, you can find one of those. But aside from those two, you're gonna get a lot of good games. All right, you drop down $50 and you'll get like a ton of games now. Really, it is ridiculous.
It's frightening. And the thing is, it's just good old parts because if you're a console user, you don't get like the necessity of like what Steam would be available to the PC guys, where you get these games for $2. So like the eShop, I've always wanted to play Jedi Outcast 2. It's like, oh hey, it's $5. I'm like, oh shit, man.
Yeah. No, so Toronto Argonauts established 1873. That's how far back they go in their history. They play in the Canadian Football League. They're the most successful team in league history with 17 championships, also known as the Grey Cup. Their last coming in 2017. And Andrew, once again, this is one of my notes here. They changed their logo to the boat logo, which is a great logo. I like it. I like their colors too. Very subdued blues. Matches the name of the team. Some more history here. Notable former NFL players, Joe Theismann. They picked up Joe Theismann, I think, before he went to the NFL. And Ricky Williams. So, once again, Ricky Williams popping up on our stream here.
As in, stay off the damn weed.
Yep. Smoke
Ricky
weed
Williams.
every day. Ricky Williams.
Smoke weed every day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Ricky would have just been like, if he was in today's league, he'd just be a monster now that he's not going to get suspended for just enjoying the recreational use? Something says yes.
Yeah. He was maybe a decade too early. All right. The Argonauts back from 1959 to 61, they played 3 games against NFL teams. They lost all 3 of them, though. They are currently owned by Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, just this giant conglomerate that owns pretty much every team in Toronto in some way, shape, or form. They own the Toronto Raptors, including their G League team, Raptors 905. They own the Toronto Maple Leafs, including their American Hockey League team, the Toronto Marlies. They own Toronto FC, the MLS team, along with their, I think, US League team, the Toronto FC 2. And BU, actually, they own 37.5% of Rogers Communication, who also happens to own the Toronto Blue Jays. So in some way, shape, or form, they do have a connection, or maybe even a bit of a stake, in some way, shape, or form, to the Toronto Blue Jays. They play at BMO Field, which is in the city of Toronto, which opened in 2007, has a capacity of 25,000 for football. Bit of trivia here. They hosted the NHL Centennial Classic back in 2017 between the Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings. They also are the home of Toronto FC, the Canadian national soccer team, and it is built on top of Exhibition Stadium, which was the old home of both the Argonauts and the Toronto Blue Jays, and is the 5th stadium built on the same location. So it is where people in Toronto come to spawn with regards to their sports, if you will.
kind of like that library that you went to.
Yeah. Every few years they'll build a new stadium on top of that location. So yeah, that's the Toronto Argonauts. So we're Kermit the Frog. What the hell?
He does. Look at the logo. Look at it and really tell me that I'm lying.
Oh my god. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the theme that I was going to go with when Brendan was on the show, but we just didn't have time. So let's go with Let's Haul Y'all. Because you said the Taker wasn't a Hall of Famer just yet, but it'll be there soon. Maybe we'll go back to him someday. But Let's Haul Y'all, which is where we look at Hall of Famers from all types of sports, and today I have Cheryl. Actually, is it? No, it's Reggie Miller. Sorry, it is Reggie Miller. You see, there's the Pacers connection that I had. All right, Reggie Miller, NBA class of 2012 Hall of Fame. Shooting guard, drafted in 1987, first round, 11th overall. Played his entire career with the Indiana Pacers from 1987 through 2005. He made only 5 All-Star teams, which I find surprising. I find incredibly surprising.
Well, I mean, you gotta look at that talent at guard, man.
That's true. I mean, sheesh. 90s NBA, that's very hard to break through, and then by the end of his career. Yeah, but only 5 times.
So many. You know, if memory serves me right, there was perennial all-stars in almost every team in that Eastern Conference or whatever the equivalent was. Like not just Mike because you have your reserves, but
the Eastern 90s NBA Eastern Conference. Dear Lord, man, and it's a wonder the Bulls made it out of that conference every year. 3-time All NBA. First Pacer to ever start an All-Star game back in 1995. Currently NBA on TNT analyst. Won gold medal in 1996 in the Olympics. But, of course, never won a championship. Of course, his number 31 is retired by the Pacers. So there you go. That was Reggie Miller. And then I was going to connect it to You Go Girl. And I was going to go with Cheryl Miller, his sister. So Cheryl Miller, his sister, who is also a Let's Haul Y'all candidate because she's also in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So she went to USC, was a small forward from 1982 to 1986. She made the Basketball Hall of Fame class of 1995. Then in 1999, she was part of the inaugural class of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Tennessee, which makes a lot of sense given the history of Tennessee Volunteers women's basketball program. 2-time NCAA champion, 1983 and 1984. From 1997 through 2000, she was the head coach of the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury. Her number 31 is retired by University of Southern California, and she's had various coaching in the NCAA and broadcasting gigs since lately. So that was Cheryl Miller. And then, guys, I was connecting it to a player we remember to forget.
The bastard Miller? The secret one that no one heard about.
Yes, it is, Charles.
Hide you in the dungeon.
It is very much.
The one who has to sit in the closet for Thanksgiving meal.
It is Daryl Miller.
Well, obviously he lost on the name game.
So, Daryl Miller, he was former catcher, Major League Baseball, went to Cal State Polytech, drafted in 1979, 9th overall by the California Angels. The only team he played for from 1984 through 1988. Played 224 games, hit .241 with 8 home runs and 35 RBI, and he is currently the director of Major League Baseball's Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California.
Hey.
There you go.
That's actually more contributive than Reggie just being a bad broadcaster. Because I gotta tell you, love him in college basketball, actually. Love him. Kind of trash on the NBA talk.
Yeah, maybe they should switch him out, but that college part doesn't give him the big bucks, for sure.
No, true.
Yeah, especially when he's on TNT, so it's... all right, so there you go. That was the whole theme, guys. It was a whole Miller family theme.
So we gotta pick at Reggie for a second. He got to the finals in 99, right? If memory serves me correctly.
No, 2000.
2000. So that was the part of the Lakers dynasty.
Yep.
I'm going to say it right now. You get no sympathy from me as a player in any sport when at least you have your shot. Because you can't go like the woe is me Pacers. Not that they were, but remember, Indiana as Brandon said last week, and mind you, you can always go onto our Spotify has all our episodes, folks. So if you want to hear, our great
that's another
honorary
announcement. There's like 9 different podcast platforms. You probably have one that we're on, and every episode officially now is available, including about 4 bonus episodes, especially that one where me and Charles are just talking about cereal for about an hour.
Might be my favorite one.
Yeah, that's probably, and then the other one where me and Andrew are just sitting there talking about baseball stadiums for 3 hours, which is also a fun listen if you want to go back and hear that.
Maybe I'll listen to the shows I wasn't privy to when I first started. That's the gift of the holidays that we give to you.
It's proof that we actually are improving our craft. I guess you could say this. Is this a craft? I don't even know if you can call this a craft. Not even sure.
I mean, we're just naturally gifted, boys. I don't know what you're talking about.
Where were we? What were we talking about? I forgot.
Oh, but yeah, Reggie doesn't get my sympathy. Same way that Chuck doesn't get my sympathy.
That's a conversation. Yeah, that's a conversation. I think all right, so the whole you didn't win the ring thing. I don't think that invalidates anybody. I think I'm along the line with you. If you play for at least one championship, at least play for it, get to the championship game /series. You've done enough. Other circumstances could have gotten in your way. Your own team, basically. Like Dan Marino got his one shot. It was early in his career, but he got his one. Charles Barkley got his one. Reggie got his one. I guess in the NHL, Henrik Lundqvist got one chance at the Cup. I mean, he lost, but he got one chance.
And to that, you are only accountable to the production that you provide in the playoffs, right? Yeah.
Barry Bonds got his one chance, and he played like a monster in 2002.
Well, there was reasons.
Balanced breakfast, yes, but sure.
Yeah, a balanced breakfast of chocolate or Cocoa Pebbles because Barry.
The one that Robinson Cano loves to feast on.
I missed Robbie.
Should we move on to Gottlieb's Goons? Because that's where I was headed for that one.
Please, I'm definitely on that.
All right, Gottlieb's Goons, where we call out people in sports. It's Thanksgiving week, but people could still be goons around this time of year, gentlemen.
And we're petty. So don't think that, I'm going to be mean on Christmas. I'll be mean on Easter. I'll be mean on Thanksgiving because you earned it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I've got several here, but I wanted to do Robinson Cano. All right. All right. The first time I can let that one slide, but come on, dude. The second time, a year-long suspension, $24 million down the drain. And the New York Mets are probably the happiest of anybody that they don't have to pay that salary this coming season in 2021. But come on, Robbie Cano, because I've taken a look at Robinson Cano's history,
Hall of Fame.
his stats. I mean, he's on pace, or at least he was. He was on pace to hit 3,000. He's at 26-24. I mean, that's already 1 year out. He's 38 years old. He doesn't have much time left. I don't know if he's going to get there now. And let's see, what did he hit in 2020? Played 49 games. He had a 316 batting average. That's not bad. That's not bad at all for an old man. All right? That's not bad, but come on, dude. Seriously. You're right there. You're right at the end. I get the PEDs are trying to keep you from looking like Vince McMahon. I get that. I know you're trying as hard as you can to battle Father Time, but you just got to hang on, man. Look at Albert Pujols. He is hanging on by a thread. All right? You just got to embrace the old man status. Just hang in there, dude. You're almost there, but now I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Hall of Fame balloting this year. There are some guys that I feel like Curt Schilling's going to get in. This is his last year on it. I feel like that the baseball writers that hated him are gonna just be like, all right, you're in, dude. All right, we don't find anything other than you being a douche. There's nothing really that we can hold against you. But maybe Barry Bonds, maybe Roger Clemens to really stick it to Curt Schilling. Hey, you got in with the cheaters. That might be a thing that they'd be trying to do. So that might give Robbie Cano some hope if that does happen in the future. But you're right there, dude. All right, you could have been like Destiny 2. You could have been, but you didn't. You could have commanded stasis and take down the Dark Empire. And you could have gotten the No Time to Explain exotic pulse rifle, plus other bonuses with the deluxe edition. But you didn't. You're Dominican and you took steroids,
upgrade.
And we all know that's what they do.
So I want to ask you on this, and I'm going to ask Andrew this because he's really more the baseball purist, because me being a Yankee fan, I've had the corrupt on my team. I like a little taste of the evil. What can I say? Do we give a 37, 38-year-old player a pass on the PED versus the young upstarts who are like 26, 27, 30 that really, does that put a bigger stain depending on the age when they use the PEDs? I think that's the question.
My answer is no. I think I begrudge, or initially I was all against. I'm sure I've mentioned this a few times. I've certainly mentioned it to Francisco. That I used to be all against letting any confirmed juicers in, or anyone suspected. But as I've gotten older, maybe going through law school and learning about ex post facto laws, I realized it's really not fair to punish someone who did it when it was legal, or even if it was frowned upon, it wasn't illegal. That being said, anyone since, I don't know, 2007 or 2009, whenever they made PEDs illegal, I treat every one of them the same. I think I would be okay with someone like Ryan Braun getting in because he did it once, but I would blacklist.
Braun did it twice.
He did it twice,
I think. I'll check on that to verify.
Oh, there are two Ryan Brauns. Didn't know that, but okay. That's a player to remember to forget for the future. Hey, Ryan Braun, the other one.
If I was a voter, let's assume, because I don't want to throw my train of thought off track, but let's assume for now that Ryan Braun only did it once. Just bear with me, and Charles can look up and see if he's done it twice. But for someone who did it once, I'd wait a few years before voting him in. I would make them sweat and suffer as long as possible, and then, like, in the last few years, depending on how well they did, after they were suspended, like if they completely went in the tank, then I'd say, yeah, it totally affected him. But if they keep up pretty decent numbers or even get better, and they've continued testing negative since then, then I'd let them in. But once you do it twice, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If you do it twice, I consider that you're not going into the Hall of Fame. You can play out the rest of your career if you want, make your money, but you're not getting into the Hall of Fame. If you're stupid enough to do it the third time, you're banished completely from baseball. So I don't know. That 2 positive tests is kind of my limit. And the crazy thing is, he didn't even come out with a statement this time. He just let it happen. It's like, at least the first time he apologized or tried to explain it, which doesn't help, but at least you're showing possibly some remorse. But here it's just like, yeah, I know I got caught. It's kind of like a guy is standing at a crime scene with blood on his hands, and he says, yeah, I did it, instead of trying to explain it away. Um, yeah, so for me, I know Robbie had a hell of a career, has a hell of a career. I'm sure he's going to keep playing after the suspension. I think he's giving up, what, 21 million?
24.
24 million for this? At least my mistakes don't cost me almost, cost me 7 figures.
Just put me in jail, man. You know,
Or
Dante
8
Stallworth
figures.
said
I
something.
apologize, 8 figures.
So he's got, let's see, 24 million, 24. Yeah, it was due, and he's still got 2 more. Dear Lord, 2 more years on this contract after that.
I think
the
it
hell,
goes
man?
till
That's-
age 40, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like 3-4 years.
Yeah, that was
ago.
that gigantic contract the Mariners signed him for.
So yeah, he's blacklisted to me. You know, I appreciate what he did. You know, he was a good player. He did really well with the Yanks. Had a sort of career resurgence with the Mariners, but you know, he's played. I might have given like a little bit of leeway to like the first couple of years after the PED ban was instituted, kind of like a grace period. But it's been probably over 10 years at this point. Close to, if not over 10 years since the ban was instituted. There's no excuse at this point.
So Ryan Braun, one time, but he was also linked to the 2011 biogenesis. No, he had a 2011 test, but then that was suspended in 2013, but he also was connected to the 2012 biogenesis situation. So it just might give some hint of more problems in there. But I would just keep it brief on this because we have a lot of goons to go on. When you're younger, I think it stains your reputation more than a 37-year-old player. Just, that's just that. And Robbie, here answers the question is like, well, if they had checked earlier, how long were you taking it for? That's always going to be the thing that tarnishes his legacy possibly. But he was on some Hall of Fame career numbers going on there.
That's why I feel like he's more of a goon than it was, because I'm like, you're almost there, dude. You're right there at the end. I get it. I get you're trying to recover. I know it's not. I know what PEDs are used for, but I'm like, you're right there. Like, you could have had just the one ding and that's it. All right, we're not trying to get suspended from YouTube again. At least not willingly trying to get suspended from YouTube. We might. All right, but
we're bound to slip up.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but we're not getting paid $24 million, and we're not about 3,000 hits or a few hits away from 3,000, But
like, come on, I don't care that he's 37. He should know better. Come on, Robbie.
All right. So that's Robinson Cano. That's Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo Sweeney. What a douche. What a piece of crap.
What a child.
I mean, I know it's my Seminoles. I know we suck. I know we belong in the darkest of darkest holes in the ground. But Dabo, man, you are a grade A piece of crap.
Dumbo Sweeney.
All right.
Tell him, Francisco. Tell him why.
No, Andrew, you tell him why. Well, how's CFB handling this?
RCFB?
Yeah.
It's a shit show. What do you expect? It's a shit show for a lot less. Okay, so I'm going to try and sum it up as quickly as possible. But Dabo Sweeney, who is the head coach for Clemson, Clemson and Florida State were supposed to play this past Saturday.
In Tallahassee.
But it was postponed or canceled, I don't know. And for the distinction, postponed this season at least means they're open to the possibility of rescheduling it for later in the season. And cancel just means that there's no chance. It ain't happening. So I don't know exactly if it was postponed or canceled, but FSU, apparently FSU and Clemson's medical teams came together and said, this can't happen. We don't believe it's safe. So they decided to just not play the game. Dabo Swinney said basically FSU is, this whole COVID excuse is bullshit. They're ducking us. And this is in spite of the fact that FSU's president, was it Thresher or Thrasher? Thresher said that he and Clemson's, Thresher's FSU's president, that he spoke with Clemson's president and said, we can't play this. Our medical experts are saying we can't play this. And they agreed. So, but Dabo doesn't buy it, in spite of all evidence suggesting that this was a legitimate postponement due to health concerns. He just thinks that FSU is dodging them, which
at this point,
I don't
given
get it.
our record, why the hell would we do? We've already embarrassed ourselves enough this year.
Listen,
what's one more? Why would we dodge them?
the only team that would be, I don't want to say justified because ducking sucks, but the only team that would have any sort of a legitimate reason for ducking is someone in the hunt for a playoff spot. So, like, let's say Florida, because they're in the top 6, I believe. And if enough things play out in the next couple of weeks with teams ranked ahead of them, they have a legitimate chance of getting to the playoff. That would be a situation where it would make sense to postpone or to duck. Florida State sucks this year. They've got nothing to play for. Why duck? It makes no sense why they would duck, but he doesn't buy it. Dabo Swinney doesn't buy it. But kudos to Mike Norvell, who is FSU's head coach. He basically, I guess it's the verbal equivalent of a subtweet, if you will, basically said, Dabo, you're an idiot. I forget what he said exactly, but he said very few coaches are medical experts. I trust the medical experts.
Right, here it is. This is the quote right here. And I'm getting this here from the Orlando Sentinel. Coaches are not doctors, Norvell said. This decision was made by medical advisors, professionals that received the information Friday night from Clemson, and there was concern. The fact that a symptomatic player participated throughout the course of the week and made the trip to Tallahassee raised a lot of concerns. If other schools elect to practice symptomatic players, they can do that if that's what they choose to do, Norvell added. But when it comes to the well-being of our student athletics, we are going to make sure they are protected, and we have done everything in our power to keep them away from the risk of the most highly transmittable virus that we've seen in my lifetime. We made a decision that was in the best interest of our student athletes and their well-being. I'm not concerned about what any other coach says or thinks. You can go fuck yourself, Dabo Swinney. I added that at the end. Sorry.
So go back to the first sentence, if you would.
Coaches are not doctors.
Bingo. So he basically said, like I alluded to,
if the coaches were doctors, guys wouldn't be getting their brains bashed in back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, concussions and all that stuff. I'm just saying.
Right.
Football coaches would have guys die out there.
So, yeah, it's stupid what Dabo is doing. I can't say that I'm surprised, because this is the guy who, I don't want to get too political, but just look up Dabo Swinney controversies, and you'll basically find a Wikipedia article's worth of them, I'm sure.
But guys, let's consider something bigger. A lot of more guys on Clemson have COVID or CV than they do have venereal diseases. Because Trevor Lawrence had the CV. I think Dabo had the CV. they were riddled with it.
Mike Norvell had it earlier this year.
Exactly.
But,
so you don't care.
Manny Diaz just got it in Miami, but they're trying to do the best they can. But Clemson doesn't give a shit.
No, but the thing is, you're going to sophomore. Our players. Are you backwards? Is your mother really your aunt? Like, what's
this guy's name is Dabo Sweeney. Come on, guys.
I mean, that's a great name. Yeah, but exactly. What's
come
backwards
on.
stuff?
Like, if you never knew what this guy looked like, and I just told you, this guy's name is Dabo Sweeney, guys. He's a coach in Clemson, South Carolina.
He puts ketchup on his spaghetti and calls it marinara sauce.
Exactly. There's a Confederate statue he's defending right now.
Goon.
Okay. Man, oh wow, we are at the 1 hour mark. I just did not notice that until now. There were so many other good goons. We had Tom Brady for not shaking hands. We had Lou Holtz for just being a piece of crap.
Lou Holtz is still alive?
We had Kelly Stafford for also being a piece of crap. And, all right, fine. Well, y'all can see that on your own time, all right? But
or just follow Sports Goofs on Twitter to hear our rage. We'll post some thought processes.
That's fine. Well, we got to move on. We're going to go to a word from our non-sponsors, guys. People, places, things, concepts, what have you. Now, we've been enjoying... Wow, I forgot to put up the graphic. Oh, well. Yeah, it's the segment. You guys know what it is. It'll be nice and seamless on the podcast when I edit it later on. Don't worry. You won't even hear any of this.
I'd like to start this week, if that's okay.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, so my sponsor of the week, it's kind of a dual side. It's a kind of a two-part one because they're both related to the same thing. Part one is some dude on Craigslist who sold me a bike.
Oh, thank God.
I'm like,
okay.
I was wondering, like, do I type this in and show? I mean, I know we just got back on YouTube. I'm just saying, but
No, don't worry. Nothing untoward happened. But yeah, anyway, I bought a bike a few years ago from a classmate, and it was starting to fall apart. The chains were starting to go, the gears were going, rusted as hell, etc., etc. And I found that the price of fixing it up so it would be about as close to brand new as possible would be significantly more than just buying a new bike. So I was initially going to go through Walmart or something because they have all those bikes there, and what do I know about bikes? I just know it's a bike. But a friend of mine said, here, I know a bit about bikes. Take a look at Craigslist. I'll advise you on what are some good or bad bikes. And so I did, and I found the Schwinn bike. Guy was down in Kendall, and I was like, cool. Looks good. The guy investigated, said it was cool. Went down, got it. It was a very smooth transaction. I've been riding it, I think, for 2 days now. My thighs are on fire, and I forgot to put a seat cushion on it, so I feel like I've been sitting on a rock. It hurts when I sit, and like I said, my thighs are on fire, so it's hard to walk at times. But by golly, I love it. I have never been more excited to go bike riding. There's actually a trail behind my place where I didn't realize it extends beyond the trail. I thought it just ended at the end of my complex area, but it actually goes across the street and it continues down. So if I go the whole trail and back, so it's not a circuit because it's not around, but just go there and back, I can get 4 miles in. And that's been good. I mean, my my exercise has this whole time been really shit. This whole pandemic, all this weight loss has just been through food, moderating diet, whatever, things like that. But I'm starting to hit a plateau. I said, you know what, it's time to exercise. So I started doing a bit of walking. Francisco's joined me for a couple of those over at Doral Park, which is fun. We discuss sports, the occasional legal stuff.
It's off broadcast sports goofs.
Exactly. And some legal stuff and more sports. But yeah, this biking has been really nice. I'm considering taking it out to the park at some point, because that's a very nice area and I can just loop it a few times. But I don't know. But yeah, it's I've enjoyed having the bike and it's in really good shape. And if I keep it inside where it's not going to get rained on every 2 seconds, it should last a while. So, non-sponsor is Guy from Craigslist, and I know his name, but I just don't want to say it on air. He's not just some random dude. I know his name. So, Guy from Craigslist and Schwinn Bicycles, thank you. You're my non-sponsor. Promo code FIRETHIGHS.
Fire thighs.
That is definitely a Craigslist name posting.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. So, boys, you had to know this was coming, right? Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. You had to know. This is
I was
it.
waiting. You've been going hard on that.
I've been going hard, and Charles can see my activity on my Switch, on his Switch when he looks up the profile and who's online. He can see I've already put 15 hours into this game since Friday. He can see that. I mean, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity just sold 3 million copies, the best in the Dynasty Warriors series of games. Because it's a collaboration between Koei Tecmo and Nintendo. And I can't get enough of this game. I'm having way too much fun. You know, the I guess I never played Dynasty Warriors. I know it's like on PS2.
Really?
I never played it before until, they made a Zelda spin-off of it. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try this. I loved the first one on Wii U. I got all the DLC and everything. And then they announced this, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna," because the first one on Wii U is like non-canon. It's kind of like an all-star type of game type of thing, crossover. And then this one was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be the prequel to Breath of the Wild, a game that I put hundreds of hours into already." And I'm like, "Oh, I must have it. Oh, Nintendo, oh, you spoil me so." And it's great. The storytelling is great. The gameplay is great. It is just dumb fun. You just destroy hordes of enemies. It's one of those games you don't even have to think. It's not, there's leveling up like an RPG and stuff like that. You have to fuse weapons and all that stuff, but it's very simplistic. It's not that difficult. For the most part, you're just mashing buttons, and who doesn't love a good button masher every now and then? So Hyrule Warriors, man, it is it'll satiate Zelda fans for sure, because we're all waiting for the sequel to Breath of the Wild, which may or may not come next year. Who knows? But it's a great way to create a canon entry into the series, but also make a spin-off using the assets and worlds and characters from the last game. And it's a very clever thing to do. I can't recommend this game enough, man. Seriously. Sheesh, man. Even if you're not... you can just get into Zelda with this, or at least the Breath of the Wild series of games. It was like, okay, just start with this one. Have some dumb fun, and then you can get into the advanced stuff with Breath of the Wild. I mean, man, it is... I'm playing this tonight. I've been streaming it the last few days. I'm probably... after I don't know if I'll be finished editing this show late tonight, but I might even put a few more hours in. even then, I mean, what the hell do I have to do tomorrow? Jeez, it's almost Thanksgiving. So, promo code Calamity.
You could have done the whole Zelda voice or the Link voice. Go, hey, but I almost committed the ultimate sin and called Link Zelda, but I'm like, I'm playing Donkey Kong right now, so it's funny that you mention it. And I was like, I was looking at it, and I enjoyed the first one. I like Dynasty Warriors. It's not something that you can marathon heavily for those kind of games. However, if you're talking about killing hours of time doing other things like listening to music or audiobooks, which we all know Charles does because when does he have time to actually read? It's a good way to eat it up. So, I'm cheap though. I don't pay $60.
I've been playing this in like 3-hour sessions every day. Every day since it came out. Because I usually play in 2 hours and then I kind of get bored and tired. I'm like, okay, I'm done. But this one, I'm like 3 hours, and I have to convince myself to stop playing because it is 2 a.m. at night and I need to get to sleep.
That's like me and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
I feel you on
which
that
is
one.
Game of the Year candidate as well. So
very weak. Remember, Sports Goofs, we're not just sport people; we're also gaming people to a degree. One day I'll put all my information out there. I know you guys have our stuff for when we stream like Rocket League, whenever you guys play and what have you. But yeah, it's definitely like a very still weak Game of the Year crop because I felt like it just was the popular things. But all that being said, I guess I'm up. And guys, I don't really have a particular construct of a person or an idea, place, or thing or anything of that nature. I'm going to give you the object of my affection because Thanksgiving season is upon us. And I'm going to do a callback from last year when I told you about my Thanksgiving horror story and, how I went to my sister's in-laws.
This
is about the mashed potatoes.
Oh, the mashed potatoes. Okay.
Not the mashed potatoes. So, that's my non-sponsor in of itself. But to give you a reference to last year, guys,
I can't believe I remember that.
Because it was a tragedy.
It has something to do with potatoes. I mean,
I don't want to be there, but take some of the greatest tragedies in this history. I'm not going to give it examples, not to offend anybody, and picture not having mashed potatoes at your Thanksgiving dinner. I don't want to be that guy who goes 9/11, no mashed potatoes, but damn it, somebody has to. Yeah, so nobody made the mashed potatoes. I guess there was some hostilities in the household, and people were comparing dick sizes, and then Charles suffered. And I told the family, I said, hey, don't invite me to Thanksgiving dinner. There's no mashed potatoes every single holiday. And I make the running joke that my sister's in-laws, they're Salvadorian, so it's really rice festivities, rice and beans. I love me some rice and beans, but Thanksgiving's kind of like the inexcusable, I kind of need this to be here, and I need mashed potatoes because it's all around good. Mashed potatoes is good for the flavor. It's good for the taste. You put some butter on it. Man, you can put some barbecue sauce if you want to, man. Spice it up, right? Because on Thanksgiving, I'm hitting up 3 things. For the most part, boys and girls, I'm getting myself any kind of sweet variety of pie, cake, cornbread. Oh, I love me some cornbread. I don't know about turkey. We talked about last year, like, what is overrated, and turkey's more overrated than ham. But whatever your main entree is always enjoyable, but I love me my sweets.
Andrew, didn't you throw out the fried turkey that they have at Arby's right now or something?
It was KFC. I was looking at it, but I don't want to rush in on the turkey, knowing that I'm going to get some turkey, Andrew. But I was kind of playing being the sacrificial lamb, as always. And you always kind of need that cranberry sauce, and you need mashed potatoes. And you know what, guys? Not having it for that one year basically ruined Thanksgiving for me. And I had like an ex-girlfriend's mom died on Thanksgiving, but guess what? There were still mashed potatoes there, but not this year. So we're talking about tragedies. Thanksgiving sucks sometimes, man. Tragedy sucks sometimes. Why is it on Thanksgiving? Do it on Easter. I don't celebrate Easter. I'm knock on wood. I don't want anything bad to happen on any holidays. But yeah, mashed potatoes. You know what? Let's calamitize it all together. Mashed potatoes. You're my main non-sponsor. All Thanksgiving basis foods. Y'all are some of my other non-sponsors too. Turkey, pie, cornbread stuffing. Mom's making cornbread stuffing. Yum, cranberry juice. Don't really. Green beans are okay. Asparagus not so much. I don't care too much about green bean casserole. I feel like Ron Swanson in my life, where I'm like, this is what the food that I eat kind of thing. But I understand for a healthy digestive system. And no hemorrhoid things. I will always have a sangration if need be. That's more for Christmas because coquitos all around, all this other stuff that kind of comes in. But yeah, mashed potatoes. You are the star non-sponsor, and then just for a little love, because if you Canada, you can all agree with me. Mashed potatoes is just you get the right blend. You love it. It's good. And then of course Thanksgiving food. So yeah, all things delivered there. And promo code not without my mash.
All right. Very, very topical indeed. I love it.
We went dark there, boys.
You went dark there. I mean, sheesh, man. I you know what? Yeah, not having mashed potatoes. Dear Lord. Yeah, my sister always makes it with the cheese on top. I can't wait. Ooh. All right. So let's move on here, guys. So, what do we have here? Well, we had football happen, right? Where do we go, guys? College or NFL? Not sure.
I'd like to interject with a...
Boy, Andrew's got something.
I'd like to interject really quick
Can you
with
hear us? Andrew, can you hear us?
I can hear him. Can you hear us, Charles?
I don't know.
You kind of
Francisco, can you
Ladies and
hear us?
gentlemen, if you do hear us, it wouldn't be Sports Goofs without a
Testing.
goof situation. Oh, now you can hear us? I can hear you.
I'm gonna edit this out of the podcast. Don't worry. So.
Nice.
I can hear all of you.
I think we're all on some sort of delay,
Can you
which
hear
is
me?
fun. All right, so pause,
Yeah, of course.
everybody. Can you guys hear me now? All right. Can I get a response? If not, I'm gonna end the call. I'm gonna
Yes.
pop back in because there seems to be some sort of little delay happening. All right. Well, either way, there's a delay happening. I'm ending it right now. This will be edited out of the podcast. But everybody who's treated to our live show, y'all know this happens. Y'all know this always happens on Sports Goofs. You'll listen to this back on YouTube, or you'll watch it back on YouTube, and you'll see all our mistakes. That's what we always do. This wasn't even a mistake. This is a technical error from Facebook or whatever. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now we're synced back in. All right, so we're all synced again. I don't know what happened. I got out of sync. So where are we going? College football, I guess.
College hockey.
Oh, whoa. What? Jeez, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, you got to talk about it. You puck bunnies have been quiet for a while. That's a term.
I mean,
from
I was going to
Letterkenny.
talk a little bit NHL as far as their plans are concerned.
But we've got some college hockey, and our resident college hockey expert, BU, is here.
Okay.
And I'm going to read out what he's written to me, and I am going to, and we can discuss further in the chat.
Okay.
So, the season started a couple of weeks ago. Usually starts a lot earlier, but it was postponed due to you-know-what. And as far as I know, a lot of teams aren't playing. And BU, if I'm making up shit and it's incorrect, just let me know and call me out. So he says, I'm quoting, "The season to start has been a pretty massive shit show thanks to lots and lots of cancellations. And frankly, most games have either been blowouts or gone into overtime, including several ties. Basically, we've had such gems as Penn State getting totaled 6-3 and 7-3 the last 2 days. And then LIU, I believe that's Long Island University.
Mm-hmm.
And then LIU didn't even have so much as a coach when they announced their program in April. Or wait, hold on. And then LIU winning their first ever D1 game this past Thursday, 3-2 in overtime over Holy Cross. They didn't have so much as a coach when they announced their program in April. Like, it was literally their first game. You also had both UConn teams getting blown away, but then quote-unquote winning in shootouts. Said shootouts don't necessarily count because they were technically non-conference games, but they had to do the shootout anyway because they might become conference games later."
What?
How does that happen? If they're saying no conference, but there's conference.
I'll let him answer.
Yeah,
Cause
he's saying LIU assembled their team over the summer. Yeah, and I do remember that announcement. and played for the first time last Thursday. Okay, NCAA hockey scores. I'm trying to see. I don't even think the NCAA's website for hockey is even updated. Gee, because I looked into it. I'm like, what is happening here? Okay, so let's go to a different site. So here we go. All right, so this was yesterday. Penn State versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin 6-3. The Golden Gophers beat Ohio State 4-1. So
and then he adds all Hockey East teams. Hockey East is college hockey is a little bit different than all the other major sports.
mm-hmm.
Hockey, most conferences don't, because there are so few teams that do ice hockey. For the most part, the traditional conferences don't exist when it comes to ice hockey. The only one that I can think of is the Big Ten. But you have
Ohio State, Minnesota.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But here, like for example, Notre Dame is an ACC team in all sports except football. But here they're a Big Ten team when it comes to hockey because the ACC doesn't host hockey. So you've got these random teams that are all kind of bunched together in these like one-off conferences that only cover hockey. So all Hockey East teams are playing intra-conference and are playing an official schedule of playing each team 2 times. To make up for the lack of non-conference, teams are also playing some additional quote-unquote flex series, which don't count in the conference standings. But these games may become conference games after the fact if the official conference series has to be canceled due to COVID or to enable makeup series between teams that haven't played yet. Each conference is handling things differently because go figure.
Yeah, that is confusing.
It makes sense that he would call this a shit show.
Yeah.
We have JDs, and we have no idea what the hell that meant.
So,
oh, and he adds Hockey East, Big Ten, and NCHC teams are playing no non-conference games, while Atlantic, ECAC, and WCHA, these are all conferences,
mm-hmm.
Are playing limited non-conference games. Though most WCH teams are also playing non-conference games against each other. So they're counting it as a non-conference game, but they're just playing each other. They're conference mates.
Okay. Yikes.
Again, total shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't... Because, dear Lord. So they're trying to have the season, but it's not even... Okay. I know, because I know the Canadian Hockey League is playing right now, and I, most guys get drafted out of that than college ranks, I would say. But even then, I haven't even been paying attention to how they were. I didn't even know this was happening as far as the structure of their season in college hockey. Dear Lord. Look at this. There's an article here. It's insane that college hockey is happening. What is that? Let's see if this,
He adds, the issue is that the conferences want to give the teams games without creating massively unbalanced schedules. Though ECAC in particular has the issue of only 4 of their 12 teams playing this year. WCHA had Alaska Anchorage drop out, which means they're done permanently because they already announced this would be their last season. Atlantic Hockey had RIT drop out, but then drop back in after the teams pushed back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm reading here that they've reserved. Let's see.
And then Hockey East is having issues with
3 of the last 5 weeks are reserved just for postponements. Our Lord.
And then he also adds Hockey East is having issues with Maine being unable to host home games because of state policies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
How much money do you think college hockey brings in? I'm sure it's big in the Northeast, but I'm just curious because they're going through a lot of hard, lengthy, weird, arbitrary decisions to get East nowhere with a lot of cancellations.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to gauge, especially down here because we don't have any
Correct.
college hockey programs here.
But
it is huge. I mean, Minnesota college hockey is, sheesh, man.
They've got a boatload of teams up there. You've got Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota Twin Cities. I think Ferris State is also up there.
So for a lot
St.
of these
Cloud
schools,
State.
that is their sport. That is the sport they're known for.
It's the state of hockey.
And some of these guys, much like the parents that were canvassing the Big Ten for football to try and come back and all that stuff, because some of them might actually have a shot at the NFL and they want to see their kids get a shot. For a lot of these, also, hey, this is their chance to get some looks from some NHL teams to get drafted. So,
and then Charles, to answer your question, Boston University. This is from BU. We Boston University brings in 8 digits in revenue, likely counting donations, to be honest.
True.
But the majority of these schools do bring in significant revenues. The main issue is that hockey itself is expensive, and particularly in the WCHA, travel is expensive. Let me look them up really quick. The Western Collegiate Hockey Association. They have teams in...
Doesn't that include Arizona State? And
No, they're independent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
So, I'm not going to count the... Well, hold on.
So,
Their
I'll look
team-
it up here. So, here it is.
Here, I've got it.
Okay.
So they've got... They're really all over the place. So you have University of Alabama, Huntsville.
Dear Lord.
Alaska Anchorage, which they're going sayonara, unfortunately. Alaska Fairbanks. You've got, I'm going to butcher this, Bemidji State University, which is up in Minnesota. You've got Bowling Green, which is in Ohio. You've got Ferris State, so it's not Minnesota, it's Michigan. Ferris State University, Michigan. Lake Superior State University, also Michigan. Michigan Tech, Michigan. Minnesota State, Mankato, and Northern Michigan. They're all over the freaking place. They've got the Midwest covered. You've got...
you got a team in Alaska. That in and of itself is, and then a team all the way in Alabama.
Right. So states that have just men's are Alaska, Michigan, Alabama. Just women's is Wisconsin, and then Minnesota and Ohio have both. But nonetheless, you've got that tight grouping up in the Midwest, Rust Belt, what have you. And then you've got Alaska and Alabama. Let's see, he gave me more. BU, North Dakota, BC, Minnesota, Duluth, Michigan, Denver in particular bring in very large revenues for hockey. ASU is independent, but semi-affiliating with the Big Ten to get games this season where they're playing the team that would otherwise be on bye. The spread of teams is why the WCHA teams in Ohio, Michigan, and Minnesota broke away to form the CCHA, which starts play next season. Though Huntsville, being in northern Alabama, means they're not that far from the Ohio schools or Ferris State. Freddie is just tuning in. It's a lovely night for a Guinness.
Truth.
Brilliant! If anyone doesn't... If anyone knows what that is, you're the real MVP, because that's an old reference.
There's my alcoholic self saying I need one.
The issue is the other Ohio schools are not in the WCHA, and the UP schools, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, in particular, are A, arrogant, and B, more importantly, wary of travel to Alabama on their small budgets.
Yeah.
So this is making a shit show of a smattering of teams all over the place a real shit show. It's adding a shit show on top of a shit show. We're talking foobar shit right here.
All right. Wow. Well, I did not know that it was this bad right now. Dear Lord.
Well, that's why I brought BU in. He has his finger on the pulse.
Because I was going to talk about the NHL and how they also have issues right now with 2021 NHL season. So why not? Let's go with hockey. Let's keep going here, right?
All right, but give me enough time because a lot of college football to talk about.
Oh no, I mean these are our last 2 episodes. We're gonna take our time with these. Don't worry.
Okay.
If we go to 2.5 hours, why not?
Right.
So NHL 2021 plans, as far as I have read so far, the NHL had initially eyed January 1st as the startup day. It's always been now, since they've had the Winter Classic, has been a significant day for hockey. But of course, we're not going to have a Winter Classic. That's been canceled for Minnesota, and will be pushed off probably till 2022. But the virus continues to create a snag in everyone's plans here.
The virus?
The virus.
The virus.
Yeah.
Dabo says it.
The virus. It's like Coral in Walking Dead. Coral! Virus!
So, Canada especially has been kind of the thing that has forced the hand of the NHL right now, because they are being a lot more strict and restrictive compared to places here in the United States. And which has forced both now the Toronto Blue Jays to play their entire season in Buffalo, and is forcing the Toronto Raptors to play their coming season in Tampa, with sharing the Tampa Bay Lightning's arena. So that'll be kind of weird, having the Raptors, Magic, and Heat in the same state, but sure, why not? It's 2020. Let's just have everything happen. Sure. But yeah, Canada has been more strict than this, and the issue with the NHL is that they have the most Canadian teams out of all the major pro sports here. They have 7, and 7 teams means that there's going to be travel issues, because Canada doesn't want any of us dirty Americans coming up there. So there's been talks of having an all-Canadian division, so all the Canadian teams would just play each other for a season, which, sure, I guess if you know, maybe some desperate attempt to get the cup back up there, I guess. But I still don't see how they're going to do it logistically with regards to that. I mean, they could have the teams playing out solely in their division like the Major League Baseball did, and just create a Canadian division of 7 teams, another division out west of like 7 teams, and then 2 8-team divisions, and just have them play each other. And then once the playoff starts, put them back in the bubble in Toronto and in Edmonton. That could happen again. That could be a plan, but right now it still doesn't. I don't think we're going to hit that January 1st date. Because even the provinces themselves in Canada are like the states here in the United States, where some of them have been more strict than others with their restrictions. So that's going to create an issue there, because, maybe Ontario doesn't want those damn dirty Albertan teams from Edmonton and Calgary coming in, And another thing is money. It's always going to be money, right? So the CBA was extended by the owners and the players earlier this year before they went back to play in the bubble, and the owners wanted players to defer their salaries, and they did. The players will get paid their money that they're owed, but it'll be sometime later. Now the owners want the players to defer even more money, and the Players Association in the NHL is probably going to say no to that out of principle, because any sign of weakness could, of course, create some sort of precedent for any future negotiations with regards to the CBA. They already signed a deal. They made the deal. We're not budging. This is what you guys agreed upon for us too. And the expiration date on the extension isn't over yet, so we've already deferred all the money that you guys asked for, and that's it. So that's the issue with the NHL right now. So it's the Varus and the CBA, and I don't think we're gonna hit that January 1st cutoff. I really don't. I don't see it happening because we don't know who's going to be able to play, what's going to be able to happen. I mean, the most extreme thing would be if the NHL was like, you know what, fine, 7 Canadian teams, you guys would just play in America, just like the other teams have moved out of Canada. So then you'd have to find 7 other cities to take them in, which would be an interesting thing to think about. It's a nice thought experiment. Which 7 cities could possibly host these NHL teams? And then, of course, then you'll have the Canadian people be like, oh, this is just another way for Bettman to try and take away our teams and test the markets, put the Oilers in Houston and see what happens. I don't know. That could be a thing that they would be accused of. Well, that could be funny. Hey, let's put a team in Atlanta. They don't have a hockey team. Let's see if that works out again. Put the Flames there. That would be fun to see. Or the Jets. Move the Winnipeg Jets there. That would be fun to see, too. But
so
yeah,
I have a proposal how to fix that.
Hartford probably. Hey, Hartford. Hey, they do. Yeah, the Hartford Civic Center is still being used. So the way you could bring back the Whalers in a way. You could have the Montreal Canadiens playing there, because they'd be close to the Boston Bruins, and that could work too.
So I have a solution to that problem, Francisco.
What?
So, and it's wrestling related, but back in a few SummerSlams ago, you had the Intercontinental title, and then you had the other Intercontinental title, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. They battled out a ladder match. What you do here, and most recently with Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles, what you do here, you have the Canadian Stanley Cup champion, you have the U.S. Stanley Cup champion, and then you make the North American Stanley Cup finals. And the bubble, you do the best of 7. Screw East-West conferences. You're doing the same thing anyway.
Wait, hold on, Charles. Now wait just a second here. What you are suggesting actually did happen once upon a time in the NHL's history.
Look at this. Now we also get to learn a goof?
Yes.
Look how this segued.
Oh, my God. A long, long time ago, back pre-Original 6 era, the NHL was having their initial expansion, and they expanded into the United States. And so they created 2 divisions, the American division and the Canadian division. And there you go. And that's how they played the Stanley Cup for a time.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm. It all came together. Look at that, huh? Wasn't that beautiful, folks? Oh, man. All right. So that's all I got for the NHL right now. It's a toss-up at this point, but we're not hitting that January 1st. I don't see it happening. That's just me. Let's see. We're trying to look at our time here, management.
I want to do college football.
Then you shall have your college football, Andrew.
Excellent, because we have a lot to discuss.
Okay. So, college football. College.
All right, so let me start with a quick rundown of the rankings, because, let me just go with the most important rankings. Let me start with the ones that ultimately matter in terms of college football seeding and bowl seeding. College Football Playoff released its first rankings of the season. After a bit of a delay, here we go. From top to bottom, Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Florida, Cincinnati, Northwestern, Georgia, Miami, Florida, Oklahoma, Indiana, Iowa State, BYU, Oregon, Wisconsin, Texas, USC, North Carolina, Coastal Carolina, Marshall, Auburn, Oklahoma State, Iowa, and Tulsa, which is awesome. Got to represent my Golden Hurricane hometown folks. So that's one thing. I sent over Freddie's rankings if you want to put those up on screen, but I can just read them off. For him, it's a lot of the same teams in there. For him, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida, Cincinnati, Northwestern, Texas A&M, Georgia, Oregon, BYU, Miami, Florida, Indiana, Oklahoma, USC, Marshall, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Auburn, Wisconsin, Texas, Coastal Carolina, Iowa, Tulsa, and Boise State. So, very interesting. This crazy season has been good for one thing, which is it's finally giving some recognition to a group of 5 teams. Cincinnati is doing well. I hate to say it, but I don't think they're going to get to the playoff because UCF's been in this position before. Ranked 7th. They're behind a 6-1 Florida and a 5-1 Texas A&M. I don't know. And a 4-0 Ohio State. It's just, and for those teams, I don't see any losses coming for them. Texas A&M's got LSU coming up this weekend. Auburn on the 5th, Tennessee on the 12th. A lot of those are going to be really cakewalks for them. Ohio State's got Michigan State and Michigan. Those are going to be easy wins. I hate to say it. I want a group of 5 team to get in. This would be the year to do it because of all the craziness, but I just don't see it happening. And then Florida's got Kentucky, Tennessee, and LSU. They have Kentucky and Tennessee's number for as long as I've been alive. Well, no, that's not
Tennessee's number. Come on now.
What's that?
Everybody has Tennessee's number. Come on now.
That's true. I don't know. Tennessee used to have Florida's number back in the 80s and 90s. So while I've been alive, but not recently. So anyway, I've been there, Cincinnati. Welcome to the club. We've got refreshments. But sadly, that's the way it is. I'll do a quick recap. Well, first off, ladies and gentlemen, it is the favorite week of the year in college football, rivalry week.
Mm-hmm.
This is the week of the year where most of the big rivalries are played. This year, we've got a few cancellations, which is unfortunate because a lot of really awesome games are going to be missing. Cancellations, we've got Southern Miss at UAB, San Diego State at Fresno State, which is the oil can, dates back to 1923. The Apple Cup, Washington at Washington State, dates back to 1900, played continuously since 1945. So this is the first time this series has been postponed or canceled since World War II. This one hurts, or Tulsa at Houston, rivalry since 1950. It's hard to consider that a rivalry, but that's what Wikipedia said, so I'm going to go with it. Not a rivalry are the following 3, Louisiana Tech at FIU, Utah at Arizona State, and Western Kentucky at Charlotte. The biggest rivalry that is going to be canceled this year is Minnesota at number 18, Wisconsin. This is better known as Paul Bunyan's Axe because of one of the best trophy games in college football. One of the best trophies. It is literally a giant axe. If you want to pull up a picture, you will find an amazing. Hold on.
Don't worry, I got you.
So Paul Bunyan's axe. This would have been the 130th meeting between these teams. Their rivalry dates back to 1906, and it has been played continuously for 100. This would have been the 115th consecutive year that it had been played. We're talking 1907. There was a 1 year. They have played almost consistent. I don't. What am I saying? They actually started in 1890. They missed 1 year, which was 1906. So they have played almost continuously since 1890. This is only the second time in the history that this game has been canceled. Spanish flu, didn't matter. World War I, World War II, doesn't matter. That is a huge, huge, huge blow for rivalries. It's very unfortunate. But this year is just getting crazier. I'll do a quick rundown of top 25 games. Nebraska at Iowa. Iowa at 24 Iowa, number 13 Iowa State, number 17. Screw it. You guys can look that up online if anyone actually wants to pay attention. I will cover, however, the big rivalry games. You've got LSU, Texas A&M. That's a big one. That one is most notable for the 7-overtime masterpiece they did a couple of years ago. It was so long, and it was so insane that they changed the overtime rules because of it. You know a game or an incident or a moment is big when it literally changes the rule book. Yeah, look it up. I think the score was 72-70 in 7 overtimes. It was the longest and highest scoring game in college football history. That one, you've got another big one, number 2 Clemson and number 1 Alabama, the Iron Bowl. That's going to be a big one. I don't know. Alabama's obviously the favorite to win this because they're the higher ranked team. They are unanimous number 1 team in the AP poll. But you never know. Look at 2013, the Kick Six. That's the beauty of rivalry games. You just never know.
I thought it was Auburn versus Alabama.
What did I say?
Clemson.
Right. Sorry. Auburn at Alabama. You never know with the Iron Bowl. You just never know. Or any rivalry for that matter. Another one, a big rivalry game, is Oregon at Oregon State. Used to be known as the Civil War, but in light of protests, the name was changed because Civil War has Southern segregation connotations. So they're looking for a new name, but it's the rivalry formerly known as the Civil War. They have an awesome trophy. It's a platypus because Oregon Ducks, Oregon State Beavers.
Mm-hmm.
You get it? It's platypus has the duck bill and the beaver tail. Very clever. Now let's go to our local teams. Miami is... Are they playing this week?
I think it's
Wake Forest.
Because the CV.
It was postponed.
No.
No wonder I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Miami's not playing this week because of postponements. FIU, as I mentioned earlier, they're postponed. Thanks a lot, FIU. It's their fault. No, seriously, they said the issue is with their program. Who else? Florida State. I don't know because I don't care.
Virginia.
Oh, it's Virginia? Okay. You're screwed. UCF at South Florida, the war on I-4. Always a favorite. I actually, my phone background Since my phone, it shows the time on it, so it's like, right now it's 8:51 p.m. I made a background where it says it's blank and South Florida still sucks, and then the time fills right in. So it's 8:51 and South Florida still sucks. And the A's are the USF logo, but flipped upside down because their logo is a U, horns down. Let's go UCF. Let's tie this damn series. Currently, the series is 6-5 in favor of the Bulls. But if we tie this, we take one more bragging right away from them, which is, we lead the series. But we've been kicking your ass for the past few years, so hardy har har. That'll be fun. Interesting note, there is an unsubstantiated rumor that Mackenzie Milton might make his first appearance at this game since 2018.
Do they need him?
No. So let me, I'm sure everyone knows the story, but I'll just do a quick recap. Mackenzie Milton was UCF's starting quarterback from a couple of games into the 2016 season through almost the end of the 2018 season, took us to an undefeated national championship season in 2017, led us most of the way to an undefeated regular season and conference championship. Unfortunately, in the last regular season of the game, which was at Raymond James Stadium in 2018, he suffered a Alex Smith type injury. We're talking, there was no pulse in his leg. It was a horrific injury. This is the kind of thing that players do not come back from. But somehow, some way, can't really explain it, not only is he walking, he has been cleared to play football, ladies and gentlemen. It's insanity. It shouldn't happen. This should not be happening, but it is. And as much as I love KZ, as we call him, as much as I'd love him to, since there's really nothing to play for, there's no reason for him to play this week, or this season for that matter. I'd love for him to come back into a full, let's hope, in 2021, hopefully there's a full bounce house, and he can start the home opener against whoever we're playing. Talk about a huge moment where surely more than 45,000 people are going to give him probably the loudest standing ovation that he has or ever will receive in his life. That being said, talk about a headline. He comes back in his first appearance at the place where his life and his career was forever changed. No matter what happens, it's going to be a huge game. The fact that they're even teasing it is huge. This is a moment that a lot of people didn't think would happen. There was a chance he would lose his leg. There was a chance that he wouldn't walk again. So the fact that there's even a chance of him playing is ridiculous and insane, and I love it. Last up, sorry for my little tangent there, but it's just huge. It's a huge event, and FAU.
They're playing Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee, 3:30 on CBS Sports Network. And FAU is receiving some votes in the human polls, the AP and the coaches. So FAU's having a pretty decent season for what it's worth. So yeah, that's the extent of college football. I mean, the big headline outside of the games and the cancellations was Dabo Swinney. We covered that a bit earlier. So Any questions from me, gentlemen, of what's going on? Because I can't think of anything else, but I'm always good to answer questions.
Nah.
I mean, New Year's Six Bowl's coming soon, and since we're going to be off next week, what's your thoughts on that? Because I don't know, we're in a weird spot with next week's show because there's so many speculation.
I wanted to do our college bowl extravaganza like we did last year, Andrew.
Gotcha.
I'd like to do that. I'm game.
We did that last year, and it was like we covered like every single bowl game in some way, shape, or form.
That was fun, and that tickled my fancy.
That'll be our bonus mid episode where we'll in the middle of our transition through the holidays. So we'll throw that in. I think maybe the week before it was like I think December 19th, like the first of the bowl games or whatever. So probably like that week before that or whatever, that Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we can get together. Kind of just sit down and be like, okay, let's go through this. Let's see, the Old Spice Bowl. Who's doing that? And then we'll just keep going from there.
But I will say, just to briefly, touch on what you were talking about, Charles, is I will say what Freddie says is going to be the top four. The two semifinal bowls this year are the Rose Bowl over in Pasadena and the Sugar Bowl over in New Orleans. For the Rose Bowl, he has Ohio State and Clemson. For the Sugar Bowl, he has Alabama and Oregon. He projects that the national championship, which will be played here in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, will be between Ohio State and Alabama. That'll be interesting.
No love on Notre Dame, huh? Because technically, asterisk aside, wouldn't it be in the line for it? Or is Freddie?
Oh, certainly. Certainly, they're in the running for it. Hold on, Freddie just told me something. Oh wait, he gave me an updated list of bowls. Okay, so Rose Bowl is now Clemson, Ohio State. Sugar Bowl is now Alabama, Notre Dame.
There you go.
He gave me that list a couple of days ago. This is interesting. He projects Pittsburgh and UCF in the Military Bowl. Maybe we can get some revenge on them, those bastards. And then the other New Year's Six bowls: Georgia, Cincinnati, and the Peach Bowl, Oregon, BYU, and the Fiesta Bowl, and Orange Bowl would be Miami, Northwestern. What I would love more than anything else, and God, I wish I could go to this and cover it because, oh my God, it would be incredible. There are some people who project that Miami and Florida would play in the Orange Bowl. Oh my God.
Well, the CV numbers would just spike then, because everybody.
Of course it would. Although, I mean, Hard Rock Stadium, they're only giving 25% capacity.
Something like I mean the Dolphins and Hurricanes have both hosted people, so yeah.
So it's still 25% capacity, but it's got everything you want. It's it's the two closest Power 5 schools to Miami. Florida, which is, I don't know 5 hours from Miami, 5-6 hours maybe.
Yeah, give or take.
I'm gonna speak for everyone. I hope that doesn't happen, Andrew. I really don't.
I kind of don't want it to happen anyway for a very valid reason.
Which is?
I would think UF would win, and I couldn't deal with the hubris. Because if you thought Miami hubris was bad...
You do not need to... You do not need to lecture me on the hubris of UF.
But for the people in our region who had lived through it, right, in South Florida, growing up in high school and then going to college and even going to law school. Because, how do I want to say this? Miami is like the high school kid who's squirrely in his face. Like, is that all you got? And he's got his face all bruised up and everything like that. Since we're in the holiday season, if you guys remember A Christmas Story, he's Skunk or whatever, the guy that's next to... who's Fergus's toady, the toady with the little leather jacket. He's kind of a punk, but some people might be scared of it. And then we get to UF, and I don't know. UF is just like, man, I don't want to go like super dark humor, so I'm gonna even avoid that for a second. I'll tell you guys what the joke was off the
You avoiding dark humor? What the hell is going on?
When I tell you off air who I would equate it to, but he's just basically a frat boy who thinks he can get his way. It's that kind of punchable face that you have with UF fans, because we had it with the Tebow era, Chris Leak era. Anything Urban Meyer in the last 2 years, I would say it's kind of been there. You're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. No one cares. You're not even good enough to win the SEC. Lay off it. Yeah, people out there, like, I mean, part of the reason why I didn't even want to go to UF for law school or that is just because I didn't want to tape myself with those people, plain simple. And not even lying. And also, there's nothing. Listen, have you been to Gainesville, guys? Alachua County, all that area?
Dear Lord. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Do you know the nicest place to snort angel dust? Because I'm sure you can find it there.
Alachua County, baby.
Yeah, all they got is Eighth and Charles, which is a cool bookstore, and then they have a couple other things. And they got UF, and they got that place where that one kid died from kindergarten because he found cocaine. So there you go.
Yeah,
we don't go there.
That's Gainesville, Florida, everybody.
Charles, you're gonna have to send me the link to that because I've never heard that story.
Well, I want to say it's fabricated and unsubstantiated, but I'm almost certain that probably happened at some point.
Boy. All right. Let's okay.
Oh, and before we go, I forgot the Cotton Bowl, which is Oklahoma and Florida. Freddie's projection. So yeah, that's our New Year's Six, and if Francisco and or Charles is up for it, I'd like to do one of those bowl recaps once they make all the decisions, which should be like mid-December.
Yep. Oh, if you look on our YouTube channel, it's already kind of reserved for that. So, nice. Yeah, I kind of been planning it out already in some way. So right okay, so let's go to the NFL. Once again, the fantasy update. How's everybody doing?
I'm on a 5-game winning streak.
I want to know why every time I change my name, I win. And I tested it out last week because I changed my name in the Money League because I still have a fighting chance in the playoffs because it's an 8-league team with a 6 playoff spot. And I didn't change it in the 10 playoff league because I already knew the game I lost last week really just hit the implications really hardcore. I'll still play, but I'll tell you now, and Freddie, I know how you feel about this. I don't play for consolation prizes. The minute I see that I'm eliminated, I don't even set it anymore. Because I was not good enough to make it to the big dance. And I don't claim fake championships about playing the championship game. UCF shade. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't even think it should ever be a thing. The money league matters most, whatever. So Trash of Trujillo was set out in the non-money league, and I lost by a lot because certain things happened, and that's fine. I already knew I was going to lose just because of the way the team stacked. Sometimes you just know what's going to happen. I changed the name of my team in the Money League because the Money League has my other attorney and my paralegal there. There's been a lot of smack talk. I'm a great trash talker, guys, but I never trash talk against anybody, but I was on a 4-game streak, and I was doing great. And then what started the decline of my 3-game losing streak was when I against the other attorney, and I had 190 points, and he had 225. That's unheard of. I would have won in that league against everybody else, and it just went to hell after that. I changed the name, boys. The name got changed from Trash of Trio because everybody knows I was coming back from out of retirement. I'm retiring for good this year. This is my final farewell too. I might actually change my name if I'm going to the playoffs to Undertaker or Tombstone or something like that. But I changed it from that to Old Yeller because I knew I was getting wiped out. And let me tell you something. Something happened where Old Yeller was like, I'm going rabid, man, because I'm rabid for victory. And I did. I had the second most points by 2 points behind. And that's with Todd Gurley only giving me 3.9. Raheem Morris, what are you doing, man? What do you do? DeAndre Hopkins only getting 10 points at that Hail Mary because why? Kyler Murray doesn't like grown men. He throws the ball at the children. He's maybe a pedo. I don't know. But every time and you know what? Every time he doesn't throw Hopkins the ball that much, they lose. Well-deserved. His shoulder was kind of bad. But everybody else, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I am what I consider myself to be a heterosexual male. I own 3 grown men kisses on the lips for saving my season. Because if I lost this one, boy, am I really behind the 8 ball. So you know who's going to get some kisses on the lips, guys? Deshaun Watson doesn't get it because now it's expected. We know what your greatness is. No kissies for you. Keenan Allen, though, sir. You can get some smooches. 34 points. And that's also why I lost in my non-money league, because my opponent had him. I was like, all right, we're just going to accept it. Derrick Henry. You get some smooches, baby.
Oh, I was gonna ask you about this. So
Derrick Henry gets some smooches.
The Tennessee-Baltimore game.
Oh, yeah. They all get smooches.
Is there a Derrick Henry job? Do you have one of those? Because we had the Garrett Cole job. There's no Derrick Henry job?
I think the problem is we're so far on the back nine on it. Plus, also, we didn't really pay him the astronomical amount of money the way we paid Garrett Cole. Because even though Henry's getting paid, he's not the highest paid running back. I think that's still Zeke's contract. Actually, no, it's CMC. So, there has to be, litmus test. But if you want me to say, is there a Henry Handy? Sure. The Henry Handy just gets into it because this is not one, but two. And you know what? Henry Handy time. Screw this shit. He is 0-2 because there's 2 overtime games that he has helped us win by having a big run. The first one a few weeks back in Houston, where both him and Deshaun Watson went balls out, no pun intended, and relevant to the Handy portion. But, he had a running, at that point, I think it was a 40-yard touchdown to score. And this game against Baltimore, frauds, he got the 29 touchdown run coming into it for the touchdown that helped cement it. So, side note, because I'll sum up who gets kisses. Darren Waller gets kisses. Justin Jefferson gets kisses. Justin Jefferson, you might be in line for more kisses, baby. Jack and Jefferson here because Adam Thielen's on the COVID reserve list. So watch yourself, son. Earn your keep. But Henry, I guess from the back nine stats we're going to look at the Henry Handy because it's going to be if you get us a game-winning touchdown because that's so unheard of, right? Unless it's that 4th and 1 goal line stand kind of thing, but he's literally just churning it out in production, and it's in overtime. So our stats for the football season, we get 2 Handy Henrys or Henry Handies? What do you guys like better? I kind of like Handy Henrys because Wreck-It Ralph, but the very rated R version. So we're going to give it doesn't beat Righty Whitey. I'm going to get canceled. I call Kyler Murray a pedophile. I'm talking about Handy Henrys. But you know what, though? Freedom of speech, baby.
Oh,
Say
man.
what I want.
This is why I have the explicit marker on our podcast. Oh, my God. I can't get over it. Oh man,
I can't get over
I wrote it in my notes. I'm like,
I
I wrote it in my notes. I'm like, Derrick Henry job? Question mark. I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that in a sentence, but sure.
I can't believe I had an answer instantaneously. There's something wrong with me. I literally must have been John Holmes in another life.
Okay. All right. So, there were some altercations during that game.
Yeah, let me take the reins on that one real quickly. Baltimore, you're fraudulent. Why do we own your number? We're not good teams. Harbaugh, just because we're in the middle of your field talking that smack doesn't mean you can yell at Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel will F you up, man. Mike Vrabel's the guy who goes to pick up his kid drunk at the college party and get with his girlfriend or boyfriend.
We've seen how Mike Vrabel lives, after the draft.
You don't want that. You don't want that smoke, son. That's all I'm saying. He'll hit you so hard in the face that your brother's going to be coaching or quarterbacking for the Colts. That's how hard it'll knock you out. But please continue, Francisco.
Oh, man. So, yeah, you had that little altercation there between the teams, the little things. And, of course, it played out during the game, overtime comeback from down 21-10. Is Lamar Jackson cursed with the Madden curse? Especially the worst Madden of all time? Or are the Baltimore Ravens just not utilizing? Are they too slow for him? I don't know. Is it just that they've hit a wall? I'm not even sure. Are they just they're not good enough?
So the Madden curse is just
overrated.
when you would have when the Madden curse is when you would have an atrocious season. Being 7-4 or 6-3 is not atrocious right now. His statistics aren't off. You know what the problem is that Greg Roman and John Harbaugh are getting too cute. And they're trying to say, hey, we want you to be this all-around pocket passer go around. They've moved away from the formula of how they did the power running with Mark Ingram,
also,
J.K.
by the way,
Dobbins.
that touchdown, that run by Derrick Henry at the end, did Baltimore look like they wanted to tackle that man? Because
Can you even tackle that man?
It didn't even look like they were like, I don't even want any of that.
So Derrick Henry.
By the way, I wanted to say thank you for Derrick Henry. He's on my fantasy team, and he has been helping me much.
You see, he gets a kiss on the lips for you and me. I'll do it twice for you.
Thank you.
To touch on that, so Derrick Henry looks like the Predator with the dreads and everything, right? So you remember how in the horror movies, and I think it's in actually Predators, the movie with Adrian Brody, where there's like there's always that one hero in a horror thriller or sci-fi movie where like they know there's no chance that they're going to win, but what they want to do is just kind of be the time distraction to allow the other people to survive. That's how Baltimore was. Like, we're going to get killed, but maybe the guy in the secondary can tackle them. Skinny ass Marlon Humphrey, weight of 195, doing something. You don't want to tackle that guy. That's a lot of beef right there, and that's a lot of speed in that beef, man. It's literally just fantastic. But Baltimore's just playing the wrong game because they're not dedicated to the run. It's not. I mean, they lost Ronnie Stanley, so that kind of hurts a little bit. I would definitely agree with that, but they're not utilizing Mark Ingram. Granted, Ingram was out for a while. Now he's on the reserve list. So is J.K. Dobbins, who has had like an up and down year as a rookie, and then you're stuck with Gus Edwards kind of doing everything. So it might not be, ideal, but this is where it kind of leaves you. You're trying to get cute with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews ain't doing it. Hollywood Brown, it's not even so much that he was frustrated Lamar Jackson a couple of weeks ago for not giving him targets. You're not getting separation, man. And part of the name of the game is getting separation. They're probably better reliance on old Des Bryant just trying to, come back for the love of the game instead of everything else that comes in. So it's a lot of it, and that's when you just need to reevaluate because the AFC is surprisingly good, and you're really behind on the Steelers, who are a fraudulent 10-0. They're not good. I'll talk about that when the time comes. But you might miss out on a playoff spot because we're around. We're not going to die. We're in the fight with Indy, but Indy's good to where one of us will get that spot. Oakland's good. I never thought I'd say it. Cincinnati's good. I'm not Cincinnati. Cleveland's good. Never thought I'd say that. There's a bunch of good out there, good enough to get into those wild card spots, and you're just kind of floundering around, losing against teams that give a bigger fight to, because we weren't supposed to come back. We're not designed to come back down 11, down 14. We're not. But you let Corey Davis get separation. Shocker. I know. My fear is that he's going to get good enough to get a big paycheck, even though I don't want him re-signed. You know who I want, folks? I want Allen Robinson from the Bears. I don't think he's coming back. I think he wants Tannehill. I want him and A.J. Brown. I don't know if we have the money, but we gave 1 year $50 million to Jadeveon Clowney. Do nada. So let me give like 4 years, $15 million a piece or more. It's probably going to warrant like $18 million to a guy who I know is really going to help our receiving end. And then we just try to get lightning in a bottle, because that's always what we need is, because one of the reasons why we lost against Kansas City last year in the AFC Championship, because we didn't have that smoke, man. We didn't have that firepower. And here's the thing. Kansas City is super beatable. I don't know if Freddie he probably has them ranked in the top in the AFC because...
Let's take a look at the Fred rank real quick.
Yeah.
I had that right.
Transitioning into that, but they're a very beatable Super Bowl defending champion.
Right now, Fred rank, he's still got the Chiefs at number 1 as a champion, has New Orleans Saints as the NFC champion. As of now, has the Steelers going perfect season, but not winning at all at the moment. Green Bay Packers, also.
Trash. Like, completely trash after this game. I thought Aaron Rodgers was supposed to win you stuff, boys. Oh, he tied up, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling, fumbled. So
you got the LA Rams, also defeating Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady being a sore loser. But we all knew that.
Baby Brady.
He's no longer has the Miami Dolphins as a wild card, and the Miami Dolphins are terrible. I am back, guys. I am back to being a pessimistic Dolphins fan. They gave me hope for 1 week, and look what they did. Oh, Francisco, you finally believe in us. You finally believe in us. Yes, I do. Now go out there and beat that mediocre Denver Broncos team. Nah, I don't think I will. What the hell is going? Oh man. And this entire week, the coach is like, we should have coached better. Yeah, and then pulling Tua, I get that and whatever. You guys, you ruined it. I'm back to being the Grinch of Miami Dolphins fan base. All right, they're a terrible football team. We're never going to win anything, and it's over for now. It's over. All right, he's got us going 10-6. Nah, let's do that. Let's go back to 8-8, folks. That's where the Dolphins belong. Nice 8-8 right there.
So you're
not good enough to get anybody good. Not bad enough to get anybody good either.
What do you say about the Tua experiment? Because a lot of times quarterbacks or coaches will let quarterbacks rookie just kind of ride it out. They won't pull them in a winnable game still. Do you think that I don't know Tua's makeup and everything like that. I know the last 3 games he's played.
I get Fitzpatrick kind of gave him a shot at winning that game, but of course then he became Fitzception right there and then at the end of the game. So it was inevitable that something like that was going to happen. But nah, man, I'm over it. I'm done. That's it.
Have you lost just complete faith in Tua?
I mean, has he? I don't know if he's really,
because he's like 11 of 20 for like 80 yards each game, man. He just doesn't turn the ball over, but he doesn't look like he's moving.
Well, he's fumbled. He's fumbled.
Yeah, but that's expected with like an athletic, quarterback.
I don't think he hasn't shown like that kind of X factor thing where it's like, oh my God, he's different
Herbert
than everybody else, Yeah, I guess something where that kind of showcases, why he's different or what have you. And maybe that might be down to the coaching. Maybe they're playing too conservative with him. I have no idea.
You want to say
the Dolphins never go past 8 yards down the line anyways, so they're not even doing big plays. I don't know, man. But either way, the Dolphins have lost my confidence again. And it was a hairline amount of confidence that I had when they turned me over a little bit, but then they brought it back, guys. I'm back. Okay, other games. Pittsburgh, they beat Jacksonville. What the? Okay.
Frauds.
Yeah.
Frauds. 6th-round pick Jake Lewin throws 4 interceptions, but I'm supposed to lick those nuts? Get out of here.
The Cincinnati Bengals, unfortunate.
Broken Burrow.
Yeah, torn ACL. He's out. That one you really do hate to see it.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, you get as many linemen as possible. I mean, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? You're going to ruin this guy. You have to draft him, trade for him, sign him to a bunch of money. Just do it. Figure it out. Because you can't. You just can't let this happen. And it happened. So get on it. Let's go. All right. Let's see. What other games did I highlight here? Seattle versus Arizona.
That was good.
That was a good game. Battle for first place. Look at these things from Russell Wilson. 92 wins. The most ever in their first 9 seasons of their career. He passed Peyton Manning. I didn't know that. 3rd in National Football League history, 3rd QB, with 30-plus touchdowns 4 seasons in a row. So I think Drew Brees and Brett Favre have done that. And like Russell Wilson has been having it seems like he's had like a secret Hall of Fame career right now. Like it doesn't seem like it, but he has. He's having a secret Hall of Fame career where it's like he's gonna get into Canton and we're gonna be like, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, oh, really, oh, yeah, he was good, wasn't he? Has that Super Bowl.
You would not qualify him in that?
Huh?
I mean, I guess it's still too early. In
No.
to
It just seems like
he's
maybe because he's out in Seattle, and it just seems like it's such a faraway place and all that stuff that it seems like that. But he's been just good, and I can't find much fault in his career at all. And I'm just surprised by all these stats that came out about him being like just having these amazing numbers. So, yay, Russell Wilson, good job. Good job. That's all I got for NFL. Those are the only games that I kind of took notice of.
I got one more on it. Alex Smith won his first football game
Yeah.
since his leg injury. So we mentioned the Mackenzie Milton. Well, here's the pro equivalent of that. Good for him. Nobody wants to win the NFC East.
Tank division.
Wait, who does Freddie have winning this thing?
He's probably putting Philly.
The New York Giants.
You know what was funny? I actually said they have a competitive chance because their defense is playing much better. They just don't have an offensive skill set. But sometimes good enough is just okay enough, right?
Yeah.
To kind of get there.
Yeah, it is. So.
And you know it's going to be funny? They're going to be the ones that beat the first round wildcard team.
Okay. Aside from that, anything more from the NFL guys?
They're requiring now. So very, very briefly, because it's a CV-related world now, because of all these positive tests, especially in Baltimore, they're requiring. I'm fighting King K. Cruel. Sorry, or King Cruel, whatever. KR Rule, whatever he called. Damn it. He looks like Roger Goodell, and his omnipotence. This is what happens when I don't prep out my thought process. So now they're gonna say, players must wear stuff on the sidelines now, mask. Too little, too late, bro. You've gotten 10 games, and this is the logic that you have to dictate? Why are we this delayed? We talked about it many times on the show. You had ample opportunity to make decisive, proper things, and you don't care.
I find all of this with requiring the masks and stuff, and the same thing happened in Major League Baseball. Not the NHL and the NBA because they had their bubbles. Nobody wears the mask correctly. Nobody's wearing it consistently. It's either on, it's off, it's on their mouth, it's on their chin, and they wear it over their face for like a little bit, then they take it off when they talk to somebody. It's all over the place. Nobody's doing it. Was it Andy Reid was wearing like
Darth Vader clear through.
Yeah, the face thing, which has been proven that doesn't work. It's not like the virus moves. That's not like a freaking iron shield that he has in front of him. So it's all for show, and I find it pointless that they're doing it this way. Okay, I get it, but it's all for show. It's all for show. None of them are taking it seriously. They probably should take it seriously, I would think, but none of them do. So the players aren't going to take it seriously anyways. We saw it in baseball. We're seeing it here. I don't know, man. They're all stupid. So whatever. I'll just do whatever I can for myself. Anyways, what else here? We're coming up. Okay, last couple minutes of the show, and then we'll end it here. NBA stuff happened. Our boy Bam, he's gonna get paid. Klay Thompson's out because he's made of glass.
Trevor Ariza doesn't have a team, does he? He has a team, but that's like saying I got a significant under, but she's swiping on Tinder, man. You ain't got nobody, pal. Sorry.
Yeah. NBA free agency. Gordon Hayward goes to Charlotte, so Boston missed a. What is, man? Just Boston. You know what? I don't care. It's fun that they're a joke. It's fun that the Patriots are a joke now. It's just fun. Let's just keep making Boston sports teams a joke.
The Red Sox are the biggest joke.
The Red Sox are a big joke.
You hired Alex Cora every week.
Boston Bruins.
Until you fire him. I'm going to mention that. I just beat him. Yay.
Fred VanVleet stays in Toronto.
Good.
Getting paid. Tristan Thompson's headed to Boston.
But you know who suffers the most out of this? Poor Kevin Love can't get the hell out of Cleveland.
I thought you were going to say Chloe.
Yeah, poor Chloe. Oh, crap, he's back. Hold
Cleveland on. And now Boston? Come on now.
There's poor people here.
Gallinari goes to Atlanta.
That's actually a good built team. Don't sleep on that.
The Southeast Division might be sneaky good. There's some improvement, especially Atlanta. So, Dwight Howard goes to Philly after teasing that I'm going to stay in LA, and then he signs with Philly.
I have no laughter left in me on that, but I'm gonna laugh at that
Yeah.
because you literally got rid of Al Horford, who just didn't fit well in the spacing. Now you're gonna get a guy who's just a rim protector.
Yeah. Our Heat, Goran, Myers Leonard, and Kelly Olynyk stay.
Yay! And we got
Bradley and Harkless.
Bradley. And listen, Bradley used to be a devastator over in Boston about 5-6 years back. The guy was actually going to be their focal piece, if you remember correctly. And for us just to use him as a sixth man and just heater, I think if you use him the way that the Rockets use Eric Gordon, I think it fits perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, losing Jay Crowder, you know my feelings on Jay Crowder. It's kind of there and not there. Like, he's a good defensive wing. He's a 3-and-D guy, but he replaced. I think Harkless and Bradley can kind of do what he did.
The Heat weren't going to pay him the money that he was looking for, and of
got-
course, the
he got
Miami
big
Heat
paid.
told him, we're like, we have a plan for next offseason, and we're not deviating from that at all, and we know what exactly the plan is. So,
El Gigante Calor. De Giannis.
yep. And Donovan Mitchell also stays in Utah for a bunch of money.
He gets a kiss on the lips. We like him.
And then we talked about the Raptors moving to Tampa. We the South. All right. So aside from that, don't have anything more. I think we're at the end, guys. So
Want to give that thankful thought
oh
process. to
yes,
Thanksgiving?
thanks pre-Thanksgiving. So we're almost here, Thanksgiving week. So I don't know if we want to do this sports related or in general, but what have you guys been thankful for this year?
Well, I mean,
I'll tell you
despite
what.
its setbacks, what?
I'm thankful that I still have a job. I think,
Right.
I honestly, I have to be incredibly thankful to people I work for, a person I work for. He's been incredibly generous to me. Has been my whole career, really, so I can't thank him enough for keeping me employed through all of this, despite the fact our plans were ruined by the virus, along with millions and millions and millions upon people around the world. So the fact that I'm still getting paid and doing work in some semblance of ways, I'm thankful for that I can do that and be able to maintain myself. And I know I'm an incredibly lucky person because there are, once again, millions and millions of people out there who don't have that even still right now. So, and hopefully things will get better. We will have a vaccine, hopefully in short order, and we can make 2021 actually happen and be a do-over of this year in some way, shape, or form for all of us. So yeah, that's what I'm thankful for.
Want to go next, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's been a crazy year, so I will be thankful for, I think what people understand with the legal employment that we have, it's not a guarantee. A lot of people got concerned. I work in a field where a year ago we were going to get furloughed because the federal government was being pissy pants and all that stuff. So to be deemed an essential service means that there's food on the plate, because I have a nest egg to prepare from, but seeing how it impacts, because I work in domestic violence. So the idea is the violence has shot up, guys. So I'm thankful for the work that I do, the community that I help out, to kind of give some positive approach. I'm thankful for my family, for keeping me level-headed, friends, everybody else that come. I'm thankful for you guys, because this is my life away from the law stuff, and I think that's great, because for everybody that I'll tell you there, when you find your career that you're going to do, understand that it's a career, but it doesn't mean that it's a passion. You can be passionate about your career, but there's more to, I think, sometimes than the work identity that you have. So with working with you two in this, and then Freddie and BU and everybody that comes in, I'm thankful that you guys make it fun and enjoyable, to which I don't regret it like I regret social outings to see friends for birthdays, holidays, or whatever, right? You guys are like the first date each time. You're always excited. I'm thankful for just, like I mentioned, family, I have friends. I don't know. I think I'm just thankful for humanity in a way to kind of give us a new future, new opportunity. However you feel about 2021, the idea is maybe we're taking steps further to make it better than 2020. It's an interesting concept. It's an interesting idea. Maybe semantics that come into play, but it could be something where I definitely look for anything that's better and bigger, and you can only get an idea of what that would be and be thankful and appreciate if you felt that the beginning of the year was more difficult. And I know a lot of us in this world felt that was a lot harder because where we were in March, boys, where we were in March of 2020 might be different in November 2020, but I can appreciate the struggle, I can appreciate the hustle, and I'm thankful for the chance to grow and develop, I guess, from everything.
I mean, I can't really say it much better than that. You kind of covered everything. Um, I'm thankful that everyone I know is healthy.
Yeah.
For the most part. I'm, like Charles said, I'm thankful for you guys. You guys are, this show is something I look forward to every week, and you supported me through bar prep, and I'm definitely going to continue to lean on you guys going forward. And I don't know much what else to say. I mean, I'm lucky that I have a job as well. I'm just a lot of, I always have a lot to be thankful for each year, but especially this year, because on my end, it could have been a lot worse. And as bad as this year has been, it's really kind of put my priorities in place, kind of adjusted my perspective on life, because stuff that I would have thought was the end of the world, you realize that in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't that much compared to what other people are going through right now. And that's another thing I guess I'm thankful for, is that some positives might come out of this in my life going forward. And just hopeful that I'm thankful for our first responders. I know we haven't done a real MVP on them in a while, but our first responders, our essential workers, anyone who's been on the front line of this, thankful to people for the people wearing masks, for the people that are actually stepping up and doing the right thing. I'm thankful to the people developing the vaccines. I could go on and on. I'm thankful for a lot of people. I'm thankful for a lot of things, and hopeful that on November 24th, 2021, things will be a bit more back to normal, as normal things can be post-COVID.
Okay. Let's do a separate thankful. What's your sports thankful for? I mean, for me, I'm going to go with the Miami Marlins this year. I guess they kind of embodied 2020 for a lot of people, especially the Marlins fan base. Look, I get the wild card scenario that was happening this year. I understand the expanded playoff. I get all of that. But the fact that Jeremy put it, Jeremy Taché, when he was on our show, he put it pretty much succinctly. The Marlins went through basically everything that a lot of people were going through this year, and getting infected and being postponed and all that stuff, and then finding a way to overcome all of that, all of the odds, and beating teams that were better than them, sustaining whatever they could sustain to try and just scratch and claw themselves up, and then having that brief moment in the playoffs, sweeping the Cubs in the first round. That was it for me. That was the Marlins. Me being as fanatical about the Marlins, I mean, feeling like I was once again back in high school cheering for that team in 2003, and I fell in love with baseball again because of them. I was kind of out of it, I focused on hockey and everything, and now because of them this year and the team that they had, I'm back, and our Lord and Savior Derek Jeter will bring us to new heights for sure. So that's what I'm thankful for sports, at least.
I'll go next because I think Andrew has the best feel-good story if he goes where I think he's going, so I'll leave it for him. Guys, I like happy endings. I like the idea.
Well, I mean, you have the Cole job and the Henry Handy, but yes.
Yeah, and the righty-whitey, the whitey-righty. Though I don't go to Craigslist for that.
Get over that.
So all I gotta do is have a L-named guy, and we'll call it a lefty somewhere. But I appreciate the struggle in life, and I appreciate adversity, and I'm a big bitch about it. I complain so much about it, but I like the idea that maybe the good guy comes out at top. So I'll tell you now, it's not my team that is my thankful story. I'm thankful that the LA Dodgers got the World Series. I'm thankful that it was shown that they were screwed over. I'm thankful that they took it to that distance, even though it came at the expense of the Tampa Bay Rays. Would I have rather preferred it to be the Astros? Kind of, right? Because it's nothing better than that. But even though LA has won enough, I think this victory means more than the Lakers, even what happened with Kobe and his death, because there's something really there. Kershaw got his World Series ring. Dave Roberts is not an idiot. Go figure. Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, and all those other guys really laying that foundation. And the Dodgers, go to show that, hey, if we get here 3 out of 4 years or however many times they got there, we deserved it. And they got screwed over by Houston. They got screwed over by Boston. No one wants to call it. And I think it's even sweeter because they win another one with Mookie, and Boston just destroys themselves completely and then further ends their thing where they hire Alex Cora. It's literally like, and I never thought I'd say this, but it's not that the good guys win out, but, the hero goes from turning to the dark side, comes back to the light. I don't want to say it's a Vader effect because the recent Star Wars movies have sucked, but it really is something that I like. That was the most feel-good. I mean, I wasn't super invested into the World Series because I could have taken it or leaving it. If Tampa won, that's great because it's a small market series, but there's something that is very universally balancing, and I don't believe in balance, but universally balancing, that a team that you found out was deprived definitely for sure from one, and you could say all that you want, Correa, that, that mean nothing, but there's a lot of evidence that indicates differently because it was a different competitive advantage. And then they might have been deprived from it against Boston, but they were able to get it this time. Sometimes one is enough, and it really does hit that send-off, and I liked it a lot. And that's my, I guess, what I'm thankful for in the sports industry.
Well, I have a few. I'll go in the order of importance, I guess. I'm thankful for all of my sports teams. Well, first off, I'm thankful that we have sports.
Yeah.
I know it's been tough, and I know honestly, at times we shouldn't have had sports the way that people are acting, people not taking this seriously, but I kept saying, we don't need sports. We need 1 year where there's no sports, where we can just get through this. But it's been such an awesome thing to have to get through all these tough times. I'm thankful for 2 championship appearances by my pro teams, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Rays. I'm thankful that even though we didn't win the World Series, I'm thankful that we made it, that we beat those Astros.
Yay!
Yes, you guys did achieve balance. Remember, man, I was gonna turn heel.
We beat those Astros, which meant, I don't want to say more than anything. I wish we could have won the World Series, but damn, that felt good. That really felt good too, because they beat us too when they were cheating.
Yep.
But it felt like it was. I started watching Mandalorian, so my mind is instantly going to go to Empire versus Rebellion. We beat the bad guys. These guys did not deserve to make it into the playoffs. They should have been banned for a year, whatever. But so they did. And so they made it all the way to the ALCS. And the Rays gave me heart palpitations that we nearly pulled a 2004 Yankees and went from 3-0 up to losing the series. Thankfully, we didn't. Thankfully, we beat them, which, if nothing else, that's a huge accomplishment for this year. But we made it to the World Series. The Dodgers are the best team. There's no doubt about that. We still gave them a few tough games. We won 2 games. That's nothing to scoff at. And hopefully this is our Seattle winning run, and this greases the wheels a bit and gets the Rays to stay in Tampa, or worst case in Orlando, but keeping them in Florida where they belong. They cannot go to Montreal. I can't bear to see that happen. I'm thankful for the Lightning. I've been a fan since 2008, and I've experienced a lot of heartbreak with them. 2011, we were a goalie paddle away from making it into overtime in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. If we win that series, it's quite possible that we win the Stanley Cup against Vancouver. 2015 hurt. We made it to the Stanley Cup, but lost. We had a few close calls. 2019 was absolutely horrendous, but we pulled the Virginia Cavaliers. We got swept by the 8th seed. We came back and win the damn thing. And, that was a great moment for us. Great moment for me. It was a lot to help me get through this. It was great to be part of such an awesome team, to follow them, such an awesome fan base. But as you alluded to, Charles, probably the thing that I'm most thankful for in sports is the recovery of Mackenzie Milton. Absolutely remarkable. No one would blame him if he decided, my career is over. I just need to focus on getting better and have a good life. But he didn't, and the odds were totally against him. But he did it. He made it. He's cleared to play football, which is amazing. And he could play football on Friday. Who knows? But I'm thankful not just that he gets to play football again, but that he's healthy. And no matter what happens with his football career, whether he goes to the NFL, whether he goes to the CFL, whether he goes to the XFL, whether he goes to Freddie's proposed minor league system for NFL, doesn't matter. But he is going to have a normal life, and that's probably the most important thing of all. And that's just huge. I have a lot more to be thankful for when it comes to sports, but that's kind of the top 3, and I don't want to talk your guys' ear off much longer because we're almost at 3 hours.
Yes, we are. All right, guys. So that's it. We'll see you guys next week for a season 4 finale. And our finale, I guess, for 2020. So y'all have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. Pig out. And then regret all the calories that you ate the next day. Adios.
Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving from the Goof World Order.